And we're live.
Hello,
Probably.
world.
Let's verify. I also need to open up Mixer because apparently people just love to troll me on Mixer. I do not understand.
Whoa, phone. Silent and off.
Live on Mixer.
Not an RPG, so I'll talk about it now while we're waiting for people to come in. But I started playing that Super Mario Odyssey.
Oh yeah, I'm so jealous.
That is so much fun.
That is so good.
I mean, back in the how old is Sunshine? It's old.
That was GameCube.
That was like one of my favorite Marios.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this one's like it reminds me of Sunshine in a way, but it's like way more open world. Sort of. I just feel like there's so many collectible things. Like, this is like a collect-a-thon done right. It's great.
Yeah, I think that's the thing I've seen the most on this game is people saying, I've done so much cool stuff and all of it has, like, just exploring and saying, oh, I wonder if that will give me a moon, and it does.
And it will.
Yeah,
and it will.
That's
you think
cool.
to yourself, I wonder if somebody thought to do this, and you go there and it's like somebody did in fact think to do this. They have done it. And that's the greatest feeling of that sense of like real discovery.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, that's one of the games that makes me really jealous I don't have a Switch. It's like I played Breath of the Wild on Wii U, and that was fine.
It's fine.
You know, it ran well.
Mm-hmm.
But man, some of that Mario. Let me move my mic into a better spot here. Boop.
I also have that I don't know what to call it, the Dynasty Warriors like version of the of Fire Emblem. What is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's the you know, the...
It's just Fire Emblem Warriors, isn't it?
Oh, Fire Emblem Warriors, thank you!
Yeah.
I couldn't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the name.
I kept thinking Heroes, and I'm like, no, that's the mobile game. What's... No. I really like that one, too, in that sense of, like, all of those games fulfill some sort of level of just destroy everything on the map. But, this one feels really good with the, just the pairing system, and... I don't know. It's good. I like that. The Switch has a lot of good games to I just enjoy it all.
Well, and the great part too is the number of indie games that keep coming out on it that are all really good.
Yeah. Oh, and I almost forgot I played Splatoon 2, but that's again not an RPG.
Yeah.
Really good game though. All of them.
Yeah, the things that make me jealous are the Mario Odyssey and then Mario plus Rabbids. Like, I keep looking at that game saying, like, man, it looks so good.
I need to go back to that game. Like, I know it's supposed to get hard, but it's super easy at the beginning, which kind of turned me off a lot. Even if its quirkiness was kind of entertaining. It wasn't quite as weird as I wanted it to be, even though it's pretty freaking weird. Yeah. But I don't know. I need to go back to a lot of things. Like
2017 was too good.
It was too many games.
I've already decided I'm just not going to have an all-inclusive top 10 list this year. Yeah. And I'm just not going to buy a lot. I'm going to catch up on debt, and I'm going to play through this huge backlog of games I have.
Catch up on debt and 2017's great games.
Yeah.
Like Yakuza 0, cough cough.
Yeah, exactly. I literally haven't played that for this month either.
Yeah.
Like, and it wasn't, like, I was really enjoying that game. I just got distracted.
Well, Yakuza 6 just got pushed back until April, so got a little more time.
Which my wallet appreciates.
Yeah.
So I just got to do Yakuza 0 and then Yakuza 1, and then hopefully it won't be April by then.
Yeah. And they released a trailer for Yakuza 6 the other day that was about all the mini games. It's like, we've got fishing, we've got Outrun, we have Virtua Fighter 5 in its entirety with multiplayer support in it. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, what? It's like, maybe I don't need to know that. And then they released another trailer like yesterday where it's like, and now you can beat dudes up and claim them for your gang, and then you have a roving gang around the streets that you play like a strategy game with. And I'm just like, oh, you're killing me with too much good stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
I can't take it. But that's like my one game I have so far that I'm purchasing this year, so it should last me.
I've got a backlog. And plus I don't really have money, and I was actually not going to get Monster Hunter World.
Mm-hmm.
It was totally like, well, that's just the one game I'm gonna have to give up.
Yep, ship sailing.
And that did not happen.
Mm-hmm.
I will talk about that later, though.
Yeah, your mystery gifter told me about it.
Mystery gifter was not going to let me not play Monster Hunter World.
Well, I feel like old school Monster Hunter fans got to stick together, you know.
I can't wait to talk about it because it's exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And here I am, like, Jake played through Dragon Age Origins for the first time.
Oh wow!
And talked about it a whole bunch, which he liked it, which is a miracle because me and him almost never like the same things.
That's how good Dragon Age Origins is.
And just like hearing him talk about it, and like he got into the whole mission where they, in the first Origins game when you go into the deep roads and you meet the, I forgot what they call them already, but the Dwarven Paragons, and like they explain like where the Darkspawn come from and all that horrific shit. Like that was as stomach churning as all that was. It really just made me want to go play through Origins again.
Of course it did.
That game was so good.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, whatever happens for that franchise next, at least we have. I'll say it, 3 solid games.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yep.
I think there's parts in all 3 of them to like, even if, Inquisition's... I don't know, I think Inquisition's probably the funnest to play, and the first one probably has the most interesting kind of world story thing going on.
Yeah.
I had an interesting playthrough of Inquisition. I ended up trying to romance that elf guy.
That's what I need to do. Well, and one of the DLCs
really weird.
is entirely about finding that dude.
Really?
Oh, huh.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do that. That'd be interesting.
I can't remember which one it's called. It's the last DLC they released, but I think that one would be worth playing through.
Yeah.
I remember when we had talked about this, like when it came out, I had mentioned that I had romanced the elf dude, and you guys were like, "Wow, can't wait! Tell me how that ends."
It's gonna be a roller coaster ride.
Tell me how that ends, and it's upsetting. That's how it ends.
Great. So that's what you are, Solus.
Yeah, no, it was not a happy trip.
No. Oh man.
That was. I'm really wondering like how many clues they actually sprinkled along the way that just went completely over my head on that too. Or if they even did any. Like he's the first dude you get in your party in that game, isn't he?
He is. Yeah. There is like some awkwardness with the I guess we would call it the final romance scene or whatever. That was really, really like, I don't know if this is, did I do something wrong? Did I pick the wrong option here? And that was probably my biggest hint, was something's not right about this situation.
Yeah.
Especially when he was apologizing to me. I was like, what?
For what?
For what?
Yeah, I played through that game twice to get the platinum, and I was looking for some of that stuff in the second playthrough. Like, how early does some of this stuff happen? And it wasn't as well done as I was sort of hoping. I still like Inquisition a lot. That's still... I think that has probably one of my favorite things that happen as soon as you pick new game, where just the whole world explodes, and I was like, wait, what happened?
Oh, yeah. That is such an awesome... Such
Usually
an
you're
awesome
just
delivery.
like, and here comes the secluded forest that we're gonna hunt rats in. It's like, nope, world's over.
Origin always got me because when I created the character and I finished it, the first thing I did was I called up my friend and I was like, hey, did you do this yet? And my friend was like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, I'm in the Mage's Tower and this stuff happened. He's like, what are you talking
What did you
about?
do?
What? Like, no, I'm in the middle of watching, and he was talking about something completely different. And I was like, how did this game go from two different, like, how did this setting go so differently between me and him? And so that was mind blowing for having like an origin story being so.
Yeah, it sounds like
drastically
Jake
different.
lost like half his party. when he
Oh,
played.
wow.
Whoa!
That's bad luck.
Did he upset them all by like picking?
Well, everyone's going to upset Morgan unless you're just going to opt to go for Morgan. So that was one of them. And I don't remember, like, I guess there's a town at the beginning, like, and I don't remember this, but he was saying there's a town that you're supposed to save from Darkspawn, and he didn't do that. So then that town was slaughtered.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, so, like, I don't think he ever got Liliana in his party because of that.
Oh no, that town
interesting.
always goes away. But if you don't recruit the people that are there, they're gone forever.
Okay, I think that's what happened to him then.
Oh, so did he manage to get who was the dude in the cage in that town?
He did not. That was the
Shannon or
other
something?
guy he didn't get. That was the
Wow.
Yeah, you lose both of them if you don't recruit them then and there.
Crazy.
Yeah, he didn't get either of those guys, so
That's kind of a cool playthrough, though, even though it was sort of, it sounds bad.
hearing him talk about it, it sounded really cool, because it was very much, okay, I made a bad decision and some consequences happened.
Like me and my dog.
Sten, thank you, Techie. It's Sten.
Yes, thank you.
Man,
the name...
that was a divisive... you're a perfectly respectable guy who just happened to slaughter a bunch of kids that one time.
Yeah.
Or whatever it was he did. It was something like that, wasn't it?
Something real bad, yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I don't know if I ever lost anyone on my team. Well, Morgan left at the very, very end, but
yeah.
I feel like I kept everyone together by some shoestring amount of... Because none of those characters really wanted to get along with all... Like, none of them perfectly synced up.
Right.
For every situation. And plus, since I was always doing what... it was Alistair, right? Alistair?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I did whatever he wanted, which really upset Morgan about every turn. So...
Oh, that was the other messed up part he was saying is, I guess he was like a female dwarf rogue or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so he romanced Alistair, I think is what he said. But then he also sacrificed Alistair at the end.
Oh my god.
Whoops.
So that was all of that sounds super crazy.
Is he gonna continue on to play Dragon Age 2?
I don't know. He's in Awakening right now, so I assume so. But it sounds like Awakening crashed on him a whole bunch. Despite my pleas for him to go download the fan patch, he seems incredulous that he has to download a fan patch.
That's fair.
That's fair, but it's a 10-year-old game. Come on.
Yeah, like at some point it's not going to run as well. And you know, PC ports weren't, someone's probably going to jump on me that I called it a port, but PC versions oftentimes were not great. I mean, the 360 version was pretty bad too. To be fair.
And like the fan patch they have for this thing, like you don't have to put any work into it. I mean, like you can go the Nexus Mods route and go through there, but I'm pretty sure you just get an installer and it
like unzips.
Asks you a couple questions for preferences as it goes through and then finishes out. But
all this talk about Dragon Age is making me want to play Dragon Age.
I know.
It doesn't. It's
the Deus Ex rule.
Please don't. we
know. There goes 200 hours of our lives as we all go back and replay Dragon Age.
Next podcast.
Yeah.
Dragon Age.
All three of us are like, oh, I played Dragon Age Origins. Crap.
Like, I'll be so pissed if that... I haven't looked at our news stories. Oh, am I ruining a conversation if I start talking about the Dragon Age Online thing?
Oh, no, I forgot to put that in the news stories.
I'm gonna be so pissed if, like, because the last DLC I played set up this major kind of storyline with Solus.
Mm.
Man, that was... Okay, I'll just... I'll exit that part of the conversation. But point being is I don't want to see that resolved in an online game.
Right. Whatever, like, hybrid online mess they're being encouraged to do.
See, I had no idea they were doing that.
Yeah,
well,
EA is really pushing all their studios to have some sort of online component, and it's like...
Oh, God.
The only thing I can hope that they do is they take the Inquisitors table and have some, like, optional online things. Almost like Mass Effect 3, where, like, if you wanted to, you could download the app and, like, make this go faster. That's the only thing I hope that they do, where it's like, you can still get the ending if you just do everything, or download this app and don't tell EA. That's our online thing.
I completely forgot. My brain did not connect EA to Dragon Age until just now.
It's a real bummer.
now I'm so depressed. I forgot that was a thing.
I mean, it's entirely possible that Anthem releases and it's a flop, and then EA shuts BioWare down.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 100% possible.
Yeah.
That is a very real future.
Yeah. Man, I hope Anthem's good. I know a lot of the people that... That's what. Yeah, okay. I need to stop talking about it then.
Well, do you guys want to get started then?
Yeah, let's go. I'm ready.
Alright, starting in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of Picking Up the Pixels RPG Love. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me, as always, is Musim.
Hey!
And Mina.
Hi!
Let's just dive right into it. Musim, what have you been playing this past month?
I've really only been playing one thing, and that is Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Oh, yeah.
This is... I did not expect to be as completely addicted to this game as I am. Like, I'm like at around 120 hours in the game right now.
Wow.
Everything about this game, like, there's so many things in this game that should make me not like the game. Like, half of the character designs suck.
Yeah.
Like, the story is incredibly bland. But
oh no.
walking around in that world on those Titans, like, kind of getting used to the battle system, and then they have, basically this, the blade system in it. Like, the blades are your, I don't know what to describe it as personas or Pokemon or something like that. Almost? Yeah. Like, you basically, you get these cores that are rated for different rarities, and you can't spend real money on them, even though it very much is kind of the freemium gacha model in a way. But there's only there's like 40 unique blades, and you spend these cores to randomly get a chance at getting one of them or to getting a generic one. So I have, I think, I don't know, 30 or so of the unique ones, which are all, like, they hired a bunch of different artists to do them all. So it ranges from, here's a girl riding a polar bear to, what's another example of one?
Cosmos.
Yeah. She's in it. I haven't gotten her yet.
Are you serious? I need to play this game, like, now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's
oh my god.
And so the thing is like, at I can't remember, I think it's chapter 3 or 4 in the game, you gain access to a mercenary group that you control, and you send mercenaries out on missions. Like, it's very reminiscent of, like, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, like how you send your guys out in that. But instead these are the generic and unique blades you have, and it opens up, like, various stories and things. And
oh, cool.
like, each blade has, like, each blade has a skill tree, right? And that skill tree has a possible 50 nodes on it. The majority of blades you just have to use in combat, and most of them will open. But there are a lot of them where you'll have to go and do specific missions out in the world or something, and you'll like every single one of them has some sort of kind of in-game story thing that will happen with them. That's pretty cool.
To make sure I'm following, blades are not actually like weapons; they're like the personas that you're talking about.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, because like in my head I was thinking like you're holding a sword, but I'm like, I don't know if that means
you do get a sword, like a weapon with them too.
Oh.
Like there's like a I don't remember how many categories of weapons, but let's say there's like 15 different weapons.
Okay.
So like your regular character guy will have skill points he can spend to do things with those weapons, but each blade has an element and a weapon assigned to them, and they're designated whether they're attack class or tank class or whatnot. But I don't remember where I was going with that. But the like when you're playing in combat, like the combat's still the Xenoblade Chronicles and Xenoblade Chronicles X style combat, where it's this, you know, I always want to compare it to Final Fantasy 12, even though they're vastly different. Just because it's that live, like, you're still in kind of the MMO thing, where your guys are automatically attacking. You're only controlling your main guy, and then you're telling him to do certain actions at certain times. But there's no like pause combat thing. But like the way the battle system's constructed, and they baby step you into this quite a ways. And by baby step, I mean they introduce one mechanic. 3 to 4 hours later, maybe they'll introduce the next mechanic.
Oh boy!
So you're gonna get a good 20 hours of unlocking all the mechanics to the game. And honestly, like, I'm on chapter 8 out of 10 or something like that, and not too long ago they just added a new mechanic to me. It's a minor one. It's just oh, now this blade can do this special thing in battle when you press this. But
would you say like the biggest draw for you right now is the combat and the gameplay, and not so much the character and the inspired story?
Yeah. It's very opposite with me with this game for some reason. Like all the female characters in the game, well, okay, not all of them. Most of the female characters in the game are pretty overly sexualized, and like it's done by the camera too. Like
I got that from the trailer. I think I might have seen something like that where I was like, that's an awful long shot right there at that one spot.
Like the first time you meet the main female character, which is going to be your blade, which is Pyra in the game, the camera introduces you to her chest first. Right. and then it introduces you to the rest of her. So
I mean
thankfully, like when you're out running in the world, like you're stuck for the majority of the game with whoever the primary blade for the character is. Like one of the other party members' names is Nia, and her blade is named Dromek or Dromark or something like that. But he's like a big white tiger lion hybrid thing that
that sounds cool.
He speaks very proper and is concerned with manners.
Oh God, I love it.
But like I got to a part in the game where now I can switch everything around. Like they don't have to have their main thing on, but something I didn't realize is I can make like her the character I can be running around the world. And when I did that, and I had her equipped with Dromek in her top slot, she was riding him like a horse.
Awesome.
It was amazing.
I need to play it right now.
That's cool.
But again, the story is like real bland and real, like, you know that thing that occasionally JRPGs do where, or not JRPG, it's not just JRPGs, that's unfair. It's really all games where you're like, I'm doing really well in this fight. I just kicked that guy's butt. And then you see the cutscene after and they're like, no, you didn't.
Oh, yeah.
We're like, I barely made it.
Yeah. That is every single fight in this game.
Oh.
Your characters are entirely desperate after every single fight that you have.
Oh, no.
And I am convinced that no one ever dies in this game, even though I wish some people would.
So, can you raise the difficulty in the game, or is it like all just one difficulty?
I don't know. I haven't looked. I mean, it's honest. Like, how well do you remember that combat system from Xenoblade? Like with the.
I remember a lot of people yelling all the time.
The.
It's Rhine time.
Yeah, exactly.
There's plenty of that. Everyone calls out all their moves. And the voice acting is nowhere near as good in this game as it was in that first one.
Oh no!
But you're complimenting the first game's voice acting though.
That must be this must be real bad.
I don't. I remember there being some sort of charm to the first game's voice acting, and that's not really here. Like. Your main kid in the party, Rex, like, he's kind of like if Vaughn decided to go scuba diving, but like,
well, you just said Rex, which was Vaughn's older brother's name.
Is it?
So
oh,
now
that's perfect.
Well, the second you said that, I'm immediately thinking of the older brother.
Techie Man in chat says it's 1 difficulty, but there are enemies that are suddenly level 80 in the area.
Yeah, so that first area, like one of the first free roam areas you're put into in Gourmand,
Japanese voice pack
is covered in like level 80 to 100 like enemies. So
and you're level 2.
Yeah, like there are regular enemies too, but like the big enemies roam around. It's a very frustrating area to start out in.
Yeah, it's like that joke at the beginning of Final Fantasy XII with the dinosaur, except not a joke.
Yeah. I had a dinosaur moment in this. I thought I was going on a quest that I was fine for. And then I walked into an area and this like 80-foot tall T-Rex bursts through a wall and eats me. I mean, he doesn't.
No.
He kind of kills me. They don't have a eat me animation, but.
Icetown in chat says I switched to Japanese voice pack almost immediately because of that. Have you tried the Japanese voices?
I haven't, because I guess I don't care that much.
Well, you're already like 120 hours in, so it's going to be a little weird at this
jarring
point.
at that point.
Like, it's mainly, like, they have this mechanic in the game called salvaging. Like, Rex is a salvager, so his role in life is he goes into the Cloud Sea to salvage old equipment and sell it. And so they made a mini game for salvaging. When the game started, I was really worried that was going to be the primary focus of the game. But luckily, it's not. They have a bunch of salvage points, but mostly it's you walk up to one, you say, "Okay, I want to do it," and then you get 3 button prompts you have to do. Which I got to tell you, going to a Nintendo platform after playing like PlayStation and Xbox for like primary for the last few years makes
Where is the X button in the dark?
Where's the X button?
Incredibly difficult.
I don't know.
Maybe XY. Got it.
And I feel like there's something wrong with my Switch because I've been getting like slight button delays, like because I get it in Xenoblade and I get it in Mummy Remastered too, but I didn't really notice it anywhere else, so I need to figure that out. But right. So the world of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, like that's one of the big, really cool parts because the first Xenoblade Chronicles you were just on 2 giants. Well, this world is evidently a giant cloud sea with a bunch of titans walking around it, and the titans are the land masses that everything's built on.
Yeah.
So you will occasionally see like one of their heads in the distance or something, and like you can go to an inn and change the cloud sea level, like by resting a certain amount, so that you can access certain areas you may not have been able to.
Wow.
This is like Skies of Arcadia mixed in with some Xenoblade, and I'm already in love with
Skies of Arcadia was so good.
World.
It's this game does have a little bit of a rough start, but like the combat system I think is fairly challenging. So I don't think I'm just now, I think I have my friend Dave who's played all these games, and I got to this chapter 7, which I hated chapter 7 in this game. Like, luckily chapter 8 brought me a little bit back, and then going and playing a bunch of side quests brought me back more. Like, because at the end of chapter 7 I was like, I was going to sing your praises, game, now I'm going to trash you.
Love Skies of Arcadia too.
I've never played Skies of Arcadia.
It's really good. But
probably one of my favorite RPGs.
It is probably one of my top favorites. But
not that I'll ever be able to find an affordable copy, but if I did, would the PlayStation or Dreamcast be the better?
I don't know. Dreamcast had a problem where the enemy encounter rate was way too high that the remake fixed. But it's kind of hard to find.
Isn't there a GameCube version?
Oh,
GameCube
maybe
too,
that was.
yeah.
Maybe it didn't release on PlayStation. Maybe it.
Oh, maybe it didn't. I know a GameCube and Dreamcast for sure.
Hey, only $181 for a GameCube.
Oh,
So
no
great.
big deal.
Pocket change. I'm not trying to save money and
Oh my gosh.
pay off everything this year.
They really need. That is one of the games that ought to be on like some sort of classic release for Nintendo or whatever.
Steam release at the very least or something.
Because that game was real good.
Yeah.
Who made that game?
Sega.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was Sega's like Dreamcast heyday where they had all those different studios like Smilebit, A2M, and all them that were making basically whatever they wanted, and one of them spit out Jet Set Radio, and one of them spit out Skies of Arcadia.
Yeah.
Oh,
Two
man.
amazing games.
Yeah.
Does Sega re-release anything besides Sonic anymore?
They've actually released a ton of their back catalog on Steam. Like almost all of their first-party Genesis games are on Steam for like $1 a piece.
I think Sega's done a lot more recently, and I don't know if it's... I'd like to think secretly that it's partially because they've actually integrated like a lot of Atlus's bigwigs into their circle. And I'd like to think that that's a big reason why they've changed, but there's a lot of things that's happened with them in the past few years.
Sega should give Atlas Shining Force.
There you go.
I want that to happen now. I don't know why I never thought of that before. Anyway, so Xenoblade Chronicles, right. I'm trying to think what else there is to say about it. Like the music is all right, it's serviceable, but like the...
Is it just
like,
generic RPG music, or?
Yeah, I mean it's just yeah, it's orchestrated, so I mean it's nice. It's just nothing like stand out. But
Let me see who did the music for that.
Again,
as long
like
as it doesn't ruin the game. That's
running, the story ruins the game, but like running around in the world. I'm sorry, the story is just so dumb.
Is
I
it
guess
like 13-2 dumb, or?
Oh no. That's
Oh,
I think
okay.
13-2 probably has a little bit of charm to it. No, this is it's just very much a story written for like a 13-year-old kid.
Right.
Okay.
And like I think in terms of the understanding of real life in the world, like it's it's almost a harem anime like Shonen Jump like style story.
Right. I'll defeat the villain with the power of friendship.
Yeah, he says that. He says that almost
no.
verbatim in battle. He says the power of friendship. It is amazing. It's
So
that is one thing I like.
Low expectations for the story.
Yeah. That is one thing I like about the main character Rex is he's so overly like positive and optimistic. Like it's, what video game characters are ever like that? Like and not secretly a sociopath or something weird.
That's a chapter 10 twist. He's actually the bad guy the whole time.
Yeah. But it's also like every woman in the game like has a thing for him seemingly.
Oh, of course.
So like that's what I mean. Like it has a little bit of like a Tenchi Muyo or something in it.
Right.
It's not quite that level, I mean Tenchi Muyo, that was the joke of the series.
Admittedly, when you already told me about how the females were like kind of sexualized, I was already thinking this was a little bit of like a fantasy for a guy. So I was already expecting some every female character.
They do have like I think Nia's an alright female character, and she's not. I don't think she's sexualized at all, and Morag is a character I like quite a bit in the game, and she's kind of she's basically Naoto from Persona 4.
Okay, that's all right.
Except she has the job and is well respected, like in her community. But
I'm still gonna play it. It was a Christmas gift, so.
Oh, nice.
I gotta play.
There's a lot to like in this game. Like having all the side quests for all the different blades is kind of freaking awesome. Like
That's cool.
There are side quests for these in-game gotcha sword weapons things.
Yeah, so there are around like 39 or 40 of them, and like to unlock some of their skills, you have to go do some of their side quests, and some of them like this one I had to do recently was it's I can't remember her name, but she has a big giant gun and she looks kind of like a goth marionette puppet thing. And I'd been sending her out on these mercenary missions with my other blades, and she's basically just been spying. And then she decided she got tired of that because she didn't want to be away from the main character. So like what you had to do is you send her on this mercenary mission, and then you go out and you're basically pulling like a pincher move on this enemy. And so you get a, cutscene battle thing there, and then it extends beyond, okay, now we got to go hunt this person down. And it's kind of every beat of the story, you'll get a little, 10, 15 second cutscene or something with her.
They
and
can get tired of going out on these missions and tell you.
That's not a random event that happens. That
it's like part of her story,
her character,
like her
arc.
loyalty mission.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it's not that cool.
Okay. Jesus.
No. They just all have their, hand-woven stories that the developers made for them. So
Right.
I love it.
like this one is a like they have a race in the games called No Pawns, which is basically Choo Choo from Xenogears.
Yeah.
But yeah, the little
Nopoms were in the first one, weren't they? The little
I think so. They lived in that tree.
tiny.
Yeah, they're well, they kind of live everywhere here, but they're little 3 feet tall furball things with like weird,
yeah. Little weird
hands
ears
on their hands.
Is it hands? They look like big floppy ears, but I guess they don't have hands, so that must be their hands.
They use them as hands. I think they might have hands in addition into those. But there's a blade that is basically like a Nopon god that is like this giant big ball thing.
Oh,
And
I love
It's
it.
like King Frost from Persona.
yeah,
I'm already 100% in this.
I see Amina's
And-
next 300 hours.
Right.
and for him to unlock his various skill trees, you have to stock a bunch of food, which is a little bit annoying, but it's pretty easy.
That's pretty good.
Oh my god. This is great.
There's a lot to love in this game. Like
Yeah.
the story itself of the 120 hours I played is probably 20 hours or something. I've spent the majority of my time doing side quests and exploring and looking for unique monsters and things. And if you're gonna play the game, I'd say you probably want to follow the story until like chapter 3 or 4, with occasionally stopping to grind. But like once you get the mercenary group, I think you're good and free to start doing the all the side quests. Like I feel like that would be the optimal like arc of time to spend in the game. But
Right.
anyway, I'm still really enjoying it. I haven't decided whether I'm going to beat the game or just do all the side quests. But I did go ahead and buy the overpriced DLC, which felt a little dirty because most of what they've released right now is just here, have a bunch of extra supplies in the game, which is nice, but with kind of the gacha system in it, it's also like, you guys are thinking about it, aren't you?
Yeah.
Just adding a summon pack thing, but with only like I think it's 39 unique blades, and you get like at least a dozen of them from either the story or side quests, so you don't have to get them all randomly.
Right.
So like I think they really have a pretty limited potential for that, so hopefully they won't. But I guess in May they're going to release some more blades that you can get for it. And then in the fall, they're going to release a story pack DLC and some sort of new game plus. So,
wow.
But
I'm excited.
other than that, I guess real briefly, the phone games. I've really barely played them. I got let's see. I'll start with Fire Emblem since you guys don't usually play that one.
Give us 50 gems.
Seriously, that's what I wanted to bring up. That was awesome. Yay for that. Like, if you haven't played the game, like, just go log in right now and get 50 gems and summon to your heart's content.
Nice.
And I don't, like, I swear, I don't know what it is. I will not get a single gold for the entire month. And then, like, the day before we record PUP, like, I pull, like, literally, like, 3 or 4 of them. I now have 3 versions of Azura. Like,
oh, I have 2 of that that New Year's one, the Yukata one.
yeah.
I have 2 of that one now, and what I pulled a couple other units. I don't remember them all too well because I have like 3 of the Christmas units because I wasn't here for the last PUP, so I didn't get a chance to bring that up. I didn't get the Crom one, but I did get Tharja, Lissa, and Male Robin Christmas.
Well, I'll tell you, Christmas Tharja is wearing less clothes than the Xenoblade characters, so...
Okay. I do not know, like, who would okayed that outfit.
It's not a use in public unit.
It is...
Yeah.
Really, really, really...
I mean, it's a skimpy bikini, you know?
Skimpy bikini. That is...
Exactly what you want to wear around Christmas.
I don't know how to put it other than that.
Yeah.
I also got I got a couple of units. I did when I got the 50 gems. I kept trying to go for that new Ike. I don't even know if he's good or not. I got him though.
All the Ikes are good. I did not get the Ike. I was going for him too, but I did get the green priestess chick, and the blue priestess chick that you get with the story is amazing. So
I have 2 of her.
Oh, nice.
Fjorm? I don't know if that F is silent.
Fjorm is the blue one.
Oh, never mind then. I got 2 of the blue one, not the green one.
Okay.
I tried, but I failed.
That's hey, a +3 Fjorm if you combine her together is gonna be freaking amazing. So, yeah, I have to play the game to get good pulls. Evidently, like, I keep thinking that can't be true, and it's true. Like, if I spend the day playing it and then go to pull the next day, I will hopefully get something. But I was a little bit disappointed that I didn't get that Ike since I have the other 2 Ikes, and the other 2 Ikes are amazing. But yeah, it's okay. But that game's every time, like, I'll get like upset at that game for not giving me the units I want, but then I go to play it and I'm like, man, they did a good job at this game.
Yeah.
So I need to finish out the that one mode that I hate, that I don't hate as much anymore. The do 5 battles, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the 5-star character is only at 15,000 points. And with the bonuses, like, you get 2 bonus battles each day. So you could potentially earn like 2,000 points a day. Or, well, okay, on the level difficulty I play at, you can potentially earn 2,000. I think if you go to the highest one, you could earn like 2,500 or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. That's a neat game. And then man, I fell off of Brave Exvius a lot. Like, I'm still like logging in. I'm not even doing anything. I'm just getting in and getting all the friends the presents, and then
yeah. Till recently, that was me too. This story mission I've gone into to just get a bunch of lapis, but beyond that, I haven't had the time to play it.
I need to start doing that. I think having Xenoblade to carry around with me has really kind of taken its place.
That's your mobile game?
Yeah. It's, I mean, granted, I can't take it with me everywhere, but I've been working through my lunches at work lately, so I haven't been playing anything there.
Yeah.
But, and I haven't gotten any, like, that Final Fantasy 12 event, I have not gotten a single character on the banner, 4-star or otherwise, in like a month and a half. And, like, I've drawn 4 stars, they just aren't on the banner. Like, I'm starting to feel like something's wrong with my game.
I got lucky and I got Balthair, which is like the only one I wanted. And I was like, all right, I'm good. I'm done.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I ended up with 4 veins.
Oh,
so that's all I got. Like them, that and Larsa's. I got so many Larsas.
I got a lot of Larsas.
You see, and when I pulled that Gilgamesh, I just said, screw it. I want something. I want one of these Final Fantasy things so that I can do this event and actually get something. And so then I spent 5,000 of my Lapis, which is how I got that Gilgamesh that I posted about in Discord.
Well, Gilgamesh is really good anyway, so.
Yeah.
It's good. I'm now out of Lapis.
And didn't pull something on banner.
Yeah, I need to start doing story missions again. I've just been. Oh, it's gonna be there when I come back to it, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So, nice thing about those games. So
as long as right now they've got a free the free banner.
Yep, for 2 weeks.
Yeah, so even if you don't actually play all that often, make sure you go to the second tab of the summons.
Oh crap! I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for the heads up.
Yep. It's still around for like 10 or 12 days.
Yeah.
I may or may not be doing that exactly right now.
Beep, beep, beep.
That's all I've been playing anyway. So.
All right, Mina. What about your corner this month?
So let's start with Monster Hunter World, and first of all, a big thank you to Moonpier, because when I pretty much said, yeah, I'm not going to be able to enjoy Monster Hunter World, he was like, you need to play it.
Slammed his fist down and said, "This will not stand."
I was like, I know, I want to, but I really have to watch my spending, because not bringing in any income, really. I mean, I bring in the tiniest amount, but it's definitely not enough that I can just buy as many games as I want.
Yeah.
So I made a decision that I was going to get V3 instead of Monster Hunter World. So that was a decision that I had to make. And I stand by that decision, because V3 was amazing, but it also hurt because watching so many people jump into World was like, I was like, I want to be a part of every that thing going on right now too. And
insert a Little Mermaid song here.
Right? Oh my gosh. So first of all, Monster Hunter World. I think it was a very, very smart move of them to not call this Monster Hunter 5, even though it is very much Monster Hunter 5, without a doubt. What they've done with Monster Hunter World is there were so many little things about the Monster Hunter series that I feel like a new person walking into it would be annoyed by, or just being like, I don't get this, or I don't understand this, or like, just there's so many little things. And I don't mean like there was one big thing that would keep someone out. It's just death by 1,000 cuts.
It's one of those things where like you've been playing for 50 hours and like you start playing with someone new and they're like, hey, did you do you eat food before you go out on missions? And you're like, the what now? It's just like, you missed this huge part.
Yeah, but there's so much, and the game was never big on hand holding. I'll tell you that for sure. That game just foregoes any hand holding. It's like, go kill the monster, have fun. And that comes with like its pros and cons. Like the pros are, if you know what you're doing, then you don't want to go through some hand holdy tutorial about like, here's how you do
here's how to swing a sword. It's just like, oh my god.
So it felt really bad when I first tried getting into Monster Hunter. I think I started with Try, but I don't even feel like I started with Try. I feel like I bought Try on a whim, and I kind of just played it without really giving it an effort. And I was just kind of like, oh, that's a Monster Hunter game, and I kind of threw it to the side and never touched it. But then 4 Ultimate came out. I think that was the next one in the line. And I said to myself, I was like, okay, I'm really going to try to do this time. I'm really going to focus. I'm really going to learn everything. And there were so many systems that I had to learn. Just so many. And it was very frustrating because like I was trying to get through it and trying to play it, and I was trying to receive help from people. But at the same time, it was just, I'm like, there's so much going on here. I could be playing any other game right now and not have near as much of a frustrating time with it as this.
Right.
Like, I mean, Monster Hunter feels and plays almost like a Dark Souls game, but you don't need somebody telling you how to do everything in Dark Souls just so that way you can be somewhat competent. Dark Souls, again, doesn't really do too much hand-holding for you. It just kind of throws you out there. But everything is, like, a lot easier to just absorb and take in, whereas Monster Hunter just layers and layers of stuff. And the worst part is so much of it wasn't modernized to, like they just kept using the same system over and over from the next game. And then so if you were somebody who was there from the beginning, none of this was difficult for you to understand. You just jump right into it and be like, oh, you know, this is all the same. And then they'd add more complexities on top of what, you know, you already know. And you were like, okay, so I just have to learn, like, you know, a couple more systems and I got it. But that made it so impenetrable for anybody else.
Right.
That I always felt that was kind of like an unfortunate side effect to the whole thing, because I was like, this game is it's really good once you really get into it, but it has a huge wall garden that really does not want people in.
Yeah.
So right away, I will say this. Monster Hunter World has pretty much thrown all of that little stuff out. There's still a lot in the game that you have to learn, but I'm telling you, it is nothing compared to what the previous Monster Hunters did. It has a lot of things that I feel are really great, such as, like, whenever you're wanting to craft the next tier of your equipment or whatever, you'd go into the forge and you'd be like, okay, I need to get X amount of these, X amount of those, and just, like, so many things that you needed to remember. I need to collect all these. So you get out a piece of paper before and you'd write all this down, like,
or you pull up the wiki page.
Right, wiki page, whatever. The game actually lets you put it on, like, a wish list or something, so that way when you collected it all, it says, hey, you've collected everything you need to make your weapon. Come on, let's go make it.
Cool.
And so that is such a relief.
Yeah.
I can't even put that into words. It's like, so now whenever I'm queuing up things that I want to make, I'm just like, I'm going to queue up, you know, these 5 or 6 pieces of gear that I want, and I'm just going to go out and hunt, and when it says, ding, your thing, you can make it, I just run over, make it, and everything's all happy that way.
That's great.
That is a quality of life that needed to be done a while ago.
Yeah.
There's just, I can't even, you know, it's really nice. It's really nice, and I think that this will actually get a lot of people into it that might not have been into it before. And I also feel like it's really smart of them to just drop that number, because now people aren't going to see it as like, oh, well, this is the 5th one in the series. Well, I haven't played 1, 2, 3, 4, so I don't know if I want to get into that. So dropping that kind of makes it feel a lot more open. Making the game a lot less complicated makes it more open. Before, you had to make, like, 2 separate sets of gear for types of jobs. And now they just have it 1 set of gear for every job. It's just,
right.
Every job can equip this one thing. Instead of having, like, this arbitrary, in order to get a certain stat on your equipment, you need a +5 or +10 or +15 of this stat to add up to get that buff on your character. It's just, if you have a +1 of that stat, you get a +1 of that stat. If
oh,
you have
nice.
a +5 of that stat, you get a +5 of that stat. Instead of, well, if you don't have 5 and you only have +4, you don't get anything. So, like,
this weird Monster Hunter math where it's like, you need to get +5 to get +1. It's like, yeah, I'm out.
And I feel like it wasn't always, like, the same. Like, some stats you didn't need +5, you needed, like, +6. So it was the same. Like, I'm telling you, this was one of those things that I was just like, I do not like that at all.
That's what made Monster Hunter really infamous, was this sort of understood level of complexity, whether it was true or not for some of the systems. But, you know, I felt like Monster Hunter was always famous for 2 things. One was, it's complex, and not always difficult, but it can be pretty complex. And the other one is, you need to have friends, because you're going to have to play with friends. And I feel like Monster Hunter World making the game so much more accessible has sort of broken both of those things and said, if you want to play a Monster Hunter, like, this is really the best place to start, because you play with a whole bunch of people online. There's the level of complexity has brought down pretty considerably, and they just made the game much, much easier to get into. And I think that's why you're seeing so many people, you know, like Yakuza from last year, see so many people picking it up and saying, oh, okay, now I get this game. And I also get why people like it, and I like it.
And one of my most favorite things that I just remembered that the game has was, before, when you had to like do multiplayer and stuff, you had to like create a hub and you had to get people to come join your hub, and then you go out and hunt together. Now let's say I'm in a hunt and it goes way over my head and I'm like, no, I can't do it. I can't do it by myself. I'm failing, but I don't want to quit. I've already put in enough effort. I can just fire off a flare in the game, and this sends like a little SOS, please help me do this thing. And then random people who are just searching, let me see if I can help somebody out. They go to the SOS portion of the multiplayer section, and they can see what quest I'm on, how long I've been in this quest, and what my level. They can see all that information and be like, oh, she needs help. They just come drop in and help me. And you can do that at any point in time with story missions, with just, you know, regular hunts on and about or whatever. And so I've been able to just, whenever, I haven't had like that moment of like, I can't do this yet, but the fact that I can do that now, where I couldn't have done that before, has been kind of like a nice feeling where it's like, well, I won't fail a mission anymore. Because in previous Monster Hunters, when things got really bad for me, I'd just be like, well, I'm not going to be able to defeat this, so I'm just going to fail, and I will go hunt something else and grind and practice, and I'll come back to it and see if I can do it then, and if not, you know, I guess I'll be stuck here. I guess that's it. I guess that's it. So that's a really nice. I don't know if it's just me. It probably is. My camera for you is all blurry.
Oh, it's Skype being weird.
Skype being weird.
Yusuf and I were having a little Skype weirdness too.
Ah, good. As long as it's not everyone.
I mean, I always forget that you do too. Two cameras.
Oh yeah.
So when it comes to Monster Hunter World, it comes with my highest recommendation. If you feel like you weren't ever able to get into the series before, I feel like this is like the best chance to really get into it if you want to. And if you've always felt that like Monster Hunter seemed way too intense for you in the past, this is definitely the one to give it a shot with, because I don't think it's going to get any better than this as an entry, because right now I'm sure everybody is playing it, and it's a nice thing is that this isn't region locked. So I've had some Japanese players hop into the world and help me too. Cool. And they are incredible.
they have Monster Hunter down.
They come in with crazy looking gear, crazy looking, like, it is insane.
Cavalry rides in.
It just I feel like, how do I describe it? Like, as like, if you play like an MMO or something and you're like a level 1 character and you're wearing like a bunch of brown t-shirts, slacks, and boots, and you're just walking around, and then you see like this guy with blue angel wings fly in with crazy flowing robes and like
a tiger that breathes
fire flying off of him, and he's just swinging a sword, and you're like, holy smokes. Whoa. This guy came in, and I didn't know what to think. I was like, this is the most anime thing ever. And he pretty much walked up to that monster and just did like 3 slashes, and it was dead. And I was like, Jesus, can I do that? It's incredible.
I keep wanting to bite on this game. I really can't afford a game right now. But
Yeah.
like all the hype around it is just like one. It seems like everyone got it for Xbox, at least in our community.
I'm on PS4 with.
Oh, okay.
There's 2 other people in the TVGP community that are on the PS4 with me. I haven't played with them yet, but if they want to play, they can. My handle there is the same as the one on Twitch. So Mina KO Rocket. Just come on, and we can go do hunts together. Friend me, and we'll go slay some monsters.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But I mean, Musa, I
like you describing it too with like the systems evolution. I'm like, that sounds exactly like Warfare. I know the gameplay is like night and day for Warplay, but that's what they've done is they've just tacked on systems on top of systems on top of systems.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. It's great, and I feel like people should come on into the Monster Hunter world. It's all good.
Yeah.
So one of my big concerns about Monster Hunter World games has always been what is there to really motivate you forward and keep playing the game? Because I've always gotten the impression that the story is kind of almost non-existent, and that it's really just kind of about upgrading gear. Like, is there?
It's kind of so. This one actually seems to have a semi-competent story. I don't quite know what the whole story is because I haven't beaten it. But very much you're a character that's leaving the old world and going to this new world that's been untamed, that you're just running around in. Something happens on your way there. I'm spoiling like the first 10 minutes of the story. Something happens on your way there, and it's basically set the stage for what I feel like is okay. That's probably going to be the final boss, and it's really mostly, I would just call it like Monster Hunter's like fighting bosses all the time, and upgrading gear to fight bigger and stronger bosses. So I suppose the fun is in the whole taking down these monsters that have been built with an AI that's complex enough that it's enjoyable over doing many, many, many times. And I think that's the fun in it.
It has been weird reading all these articles where people are feeling bad whenever the monsters start to limp away, run away, or something.
Yeah.
They're like, ooh, ooh, and like limping, and you're like, well, it's time to either do the finishing blow or throw a net on it and carry it back.
I need those horns.
Need them.
What do you do when you what do they do with it when you capture one?
The game seems to, at least in the case of the one character that I spoke to, they take like some like living sample stuff off of them and then let them go. Like they're
Put
kind
a
of like
microchip and throw it back in the water.
They apparently want to do like some sort of like studies on it and see how like what exactly makes them tick and what exactly makes them do whatever they do, and then they release them back out in the wild. And sometimes you just kill them just because.
Yeah. Accidents happen when you're hunting.
I think like they become like a pest at some point. Like some monsters, like, oh, this one's being a pest and really destroying like this monster's habitat, so we need you to call its numbers or whatever.
Right.
Gotcha.
That sort of thing. So that's Monster Hunter World, and aside from a bunch of mobile games and Danganronpa V3, I didn't really. I played Ultra Despair Girls. That's what. Okay. Let me do that one. Okay. So Ultra Despair Girls. I started Ultra Despair Girls, and right from the get-go, really crazy. But I mean,
this is really a thing.
This is. I think what's nice about Ultra Despair Girls is that if anyone plays Danganronpa 1 and Danganronpa 2, there is one thing that you kind of really want to see. You really want to see what the world is like. Like, what is the the place that's not where you're at right now like. And
the game often calls it the outside world.
Yeah, the outside world. So what is you really want to see that? Like, what is that place like? And Ultra Despair Girls delivers on what that world is like. And it gets it's a little, there's a lot of creepy stuff immediately. I've already seen a lot of characters. I've seen a lot of characters that I wanted to see, and I hope I see more. I don't know if we'll see more. I hope I see more. I don't want to spoil anything about it because I feel like even though it's not a visual novel, it very much is. There's a heavy emphasis on the story, and the combat isn't as important to the game as I feel the story will be.
Well, it's laying on top of the story of 2 other games too. That the premise of Ultra Despair Girls spoils a lot of those 2 games.
Yeah, I would definitely say immediately, without a doubt, it's gonna spoil the first one. And the second one, I feel like it spoils because characters. Because Danganronpa Ultra Despair Girls takes place in between the first and the second game in the timeline. Okay. Even though you should play it after the second game, because it would spoil the second game if you played it between. If you would play it between, I feel like it would spoil the second game. So it's really weird that it's supposed to take place before it, but you should play it after. I don't have too much to say about it because I only just started. The only thing that I feel like I'm gonna really hate by the end of this game, if I can't figure out how to fix it, is the camera controls. So they have auto camera and manual camera. And when it comes to like which one would I prefer, I'm really good at being able to operate a manual camera while moving.
Because it's just like a third-person shooter, basically.
Yeah, you're doing like over-the-shoulder cam, basically. The problem is that the manual camera moves so slowly, like it does not want to move at all. So you almost have to stop the character dead in her tracks and turn the camera, but it's still going to go at like 1/3 of the speed that you'd want it to. And that's without moving. If you start moving, it moves even slower to turn. Yeah, so it's impossible is my thinking. So I thought, well, maybe there's a button that I can do like a quick switch. Like you can like automatically, if she's facing towards you, you could press a button and the camera would flip it so that way you're facing,
like a lock-on almost.
Yeah, a lock-on. That does not, it's not there. So I hate that. So I was like, okay, I have to do auto camera. But the problem with auto camera is that it's like the utter opposite of that. You try to move in any direction and the camera's like, what's that? What's that? What's that? It was like whiplash. I'm like, please, just like, I'm trying to like make careful movements here. Right. And this like, but the game just like, you can only have it one way or the other way, okay? We either want it super fast or super slow. And I'm just like, oh, okay. But I'd rather have super fast than super slow because super slow was
literally getting you killed.
It was. I could see it getting me killed in the future because the things that I'm fighting just pop out of nowhere, and I do not need a camera going really, really, really slowly when I need to stop whatever's coming at me.
Yeah.
So that's my only criticism so far of the game, and I haven't played that much. I've only played like about like an hour and some odd minutes.
You're releasing on your YouTube channel too, right? If anyone wants to watch.
I'm doing a Let's Play of it. Because I feel like what I'm trying to do with a lot of my uploads and my streams is I really want to make sure that I put things that work better for a Let's Play on my YouTube and things that you know, I just really wouldn't want to edit down, and because it's way too much work to just do streams of that. Speaking of that, because I'm kind of curious, which way would you say Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is? Is it like fast paced enough, Musum, that you would stream it, or is it something that I would have to edit so much of it out to make it work?
I don't. I mean, it's not a. I mean, you always have something going on the screen, like to that degree. But
it's rhyme time.
You're gonna be Yeah, I mean, everyone's gonna be yelling their battle slogans every 3 seconds, and like when you get like your blade combo and elemental combos like at the same time, you have like it seems like somehow your party has more voices that are yelling at the same time when that happens.
Yeah.
But
I almost feel like I'd want to put on the Japanese voice pack just because when it's in another language, maybe it won't catch my attention as much.
You don't want to hear him say the power of friendship like during battle.
No, I want to hear that in Japanese.
It's I don't know. I think it'd be fine for streaming. It's just a lot of that game is wandering around, killing things, gathering materials. Like in terms of doing the story, I mean that's probably fine. But you're going to get your butt kicked a few times in the story, and then need to go kind of reassess, what you need to bring into battle, on whether you need to change what elements you're bringing or whatnot. So,
I kind of figured, based on what you were saying, it sounded more of a stream game over one that I have to sit and edit for hours and hours.
Yeah. Like it'd be, honestly, it's I think Final Fantasy 12 in terms of Final Fantasy 12's hunts and wandering around that world and how long that story is. Like, I feel like those... Well, no, I'm just saying, I feel like that's a good comparison in how Xenoblade kind of rolls. Like, while they are vastly different games in many ways, I still think they kind of occupy a similar JRPG space with kind of the MMO combat system and automatic attacks and things like that.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited to start that one.
Yeah, like you'll get a solid, like, it is a pretty bad intro, in my opinion. Maybe you'll hopefully I'm lowering your expectations, so you'll start playing. You'll be like, oh, this is
let's do that.
Yeah. So like I really hate the intro. Like the first hour of the game, like I played the first hour and I'm like, this is terrible, and then put it down for a month. Like, because I got this when it came out, because those collector's packs for these Xenoblade games go for a lot of money. So, but when I picked it back up and went into the mission, and it let me loose a little bit, like that's when I really started enjoying it. So, but I think you'll have, I mean, the first hour or so of the game is almost, it's like, here's 20 minutes of story. Now here's a town with 50 shops in it.
Holy smokes.
And go buy this thing and trade for this thing. We're teaching you about the game, even though you have no context for how to remember this. And
I'll treat it like a Persona game then, where I'm going in with the expectation that I'm not going to actually play the game for at least 4 hours, and then I can play.
It's not quite to that extent, but yeah, it'll be. You'll have a good solid, like, probably 2 hours, and then you'll get to your first dungeon, and then after, like, it took me probably, like, it had to have been like 5 to 8 hours before I finally got a third party member.
Wow.
Like, it takes a while.
A lot of streaming.
Whoa, that'll be fun.
Yeah. I think it'll be good for streaming. Yeah, I think you'd probably be doing a lot of editing on YouTube unless you just want to show everything you're going to do, which
I tend
you're
to
gonna
hate
have. And you're gonna have lots of instances on the quests where, like, you see the quest marker on your map, but you can't figure out how to get over there because there's a giant chasm in between you and it, or there's a giant, there's something blocking you, and you have to find the whatever that gets you around. Especially in the Gourmand area, like they have a lot of kind of vertical tree areas that, like, when you first go to that area, like, you would never picture anything like that existing, but there are a lot of areas in those trees that you have to get to complete some of these quests, and some of them you need to get to at high tide, and some of them you need to get to at low tide. So it's
Jeez.
Don't be afraid of Google in this.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have the wiki right up next to me.
Yeah.
And I've been kind of disappointed in the wiki.
Oh
like,
no.
It's like they have entries for everything. They don't have pictures for everything, which is an issue when you're trying to find a place on the map.
Right.
Which is usually the key to Xenoblade. But I'm sorry, I'm taking over your.
No. I'm gonna create a wiki account and then I'll be taking pictures and I'm gonna help that wiki out.
Do it. That would be awesome. I will thank you forever for doing that.
That's my goal because I'm already excited about this. It sounds like my type of game. I've always loved those like huge character casts, like Chrono Cross. I've always liked that sort of game, and with the Gotcha Blade thing, it sounds like I'm gonna have a lot of characters, which I like.
The blades are my main draw. Like your main party is like 3 characters, and I think you get up to a total of 6 characters or something throughout the game that can switch in and out. But each one can equip 3 blades, and you only see one of those blades on the field, but they'll switch them on and off in combat. So, but
I'm excited.
The blade system is really what makes me excited about the game. Like the blade system and the combat system. And honestly, like I feel like I know the combat system better now, so that I can go back to the older games and maybe not suck as bad at them.
So, anyways, I didn't play that much of Ultra Despair Girls yet. I need to do another recording session for it. But yeah, it's already, I can tell it's going to be good. The story's already at what I wanted, what I was hoping for. And the only thing I did was also beat Danganronpa V3, but I think we'll talk more about Danganronpa in your segment, Boston. So
yes, welcome to Boston's Danganronpa corner. I have 5 Danganronpa things to talk about.
Let's Ropa the audience in.
Hey. All right, let's start with Danganronpa 1, which is Trigger Happy Havoc.
Yep.
I somehow managed to go into this entire franchise pretty blind, other than knowing that Monokuma is the main villain, because Monokuma is just everywhere. You've probably seen him. He's the black and white bear, which means that Monokuma is a really great joke of a name. I guess to preface this whole thing, I really don't want to spoil a lot for people because I know a lot of people still haven't played this series, and I want to encourage you to do so. I played 1 and 2 on the 1 and 2 Reload edition for PS4. That's the version I would recommend. They added a whole bunch of extra stuff to Danganronpa 1 that they carried over from 2, and then added a whole bunch of side stuff to 2. And it was on sale for pretty cheap digitally, too. I really, really liked Danganronpa 1. I have to give Mina a lot of credit for encouraging me to go with the English voice acting, because it pays off. 1's voice acting is good, 2 and 3's voice acting are really good, and it pays off if you play how intertwined some of this stuff is. It pays off if you start it in English. Makoto, the main character in the first game, his voice acting initially is real not good. It sounds like when someone would put the sort of anime that Musum's been talking about with the power of friendship, they would put it on Toonami.
He is generic protagonist guy.
Yeah. But it eventually, because of the themes of the game, one of the main themes of the game is despair versus hope, and Makoto really embodies hope and that sort of positivity and optimism, and I think his voice eventually does fit that role. It's just sort of at the beginning you're like, oh, this voiceover is gonna be real bad, but everybody in that game is really, really great. The ultimate author, whose name I forget,
Tokufukawa.
Yes. Her voice acting is really, really good for reasons that are 100% spoilers for 3 games. But that is probably one of the most outstanding voice actors.
Her voice is great.
It's really good. I really liked one. I really liked all of the characters. You know, you're supposed to sort of love and hate so many of those characters. And I think you get enough time with them throughout the game because, you know, I even before playing the game, I sort of understood, and playing it sort of backs this up, that it's sort of a combination. Danganronpa is a combination of the Killing Game from Battle Royale, the original book/movie, plus Phoenix Wright.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And like, those are the two halves. And on the Killing Game side, you do get to hang out a lot with your schoolmates, and I feel like you get to know, since it is a visual novel with sort of all this non-traditional visual novel stuff on top of the Phoenix Wright stuff, they do such a good job at both halves of the game, sort of introducing you to your classmates and getting you to really like or really hate them, and then how they write the investigations and the murder mystery is... There's only one case in the entirety of the series so far that I was a little bit disappointed in. I think it was case 4 and 2. That was the closed room one.
Yes.
Because like each game seems to have like the one closed room mystery. That I really, every time that someone shows up dead, and you sort of, once you get the rhythm down, where you're like, I'm going to hang out with my classmates. I woke up this morning. Let's go check out this new whip. Someone's dead. You know, you get into that rhythm, and it's always... You start getting anxious about finding one of your classmates dead, because they have to. If you want to escape... Yeah. The whole rule of the game is, if you want to escape, kill somebody and don't get caught.
And the longer the game goes on, the more you get to know the characters. And the more you get to know the characters, the more you really don't want certain characters to either... kill or be killed, because you know it's not going to be a happy...
like X number of people left, and I like all of you. But I know I'm not done, so I know at least one of you is going to just bite it pretty soon.
Yep.
I really liked one. I think one is the shortest out of the 3 that I've played, but I don't think that's to its detriment. I think it's a very, very tight experience, and I think none of the investigations are too long. The game overall probably took me about 20 to 25 hours, which is... And that was with me not really doing any extra stuff and not doing, like, the school life mode or whatever they call it afterwards.
Yeah.
That was really just me going front to back. And it's sort of hard to explain how enjoyable and great the class trial stuff is, because most of it is the characters arguing and trying to figure out why and how the person died, and then who did it. Because basically you have to say, well, this person did it. If you get it correct, they get punished, aka killed. And if you get it wrong, then everybody else except for that person gets killed. So the stakes are pretty high to figure out not only who did it, but how they did it and why they did it. The class trial stuff is really crazy. The main feature of it is the non-stop debate, which is basically anybody will hop in and say, well, I think this is why they did it. I think this is why they did it. And stuff is going back and forth, and I never looked up the translation of what Danganronpa means, but it makes sense because you're shooting truth bullets into people's lies to try and break them down.
Yeah.
But there's also stuff like, hey, I'm going to complete an anagram by doing like sort of a moving word search. I'm going to use a sword to slash down arguments and disagree with people. At the very end of a case is my favorite thing, where you build the entirety of what happened with the case from front to back by building a comic book. and like putting missing panels in for what happened
that's
in
my
what places.
favorite. That's my favorite part.
That's probably one of my favorite pieces of music in the series too. Is the building the comic book thing.
Yeah.
I would really... I know on TVGP recently I've said, well, you could start with 1 or 3. I take that back now that I'm deeper in 3 for reasons I don't want to explain. Start with 1.
I can't put it into words. They like you miss out so much by not playing 1 and 2.
Yep.
It's not like some other games where it's like, well, you can kind of fill in the blanks. I feel like you miss out on a little bit of what the writer was or the creator was trying to do it to set you up from 1 to 2 to 3. He does things to set up plots for you, and you kind of miss out on it by jumping into them.
Yeah, one of my favorite things that they do with Danganronpa, and one of the reasons why I like a lot of the games I do, like Metal Gear Solid 2 or Nier Automata games and Danganronpa series, is they're continually playing with your expectations. And we'll get to some of that with 2, but a big part of the reason why you should play this stuff and enjoy this stuff in order is because they're building on the base level knowledge you have, and then building up the expectations, and then sort of pulling those down, and then taking a hard left turn. So Danganronpa 1 and 2 Reload is on PS4, Vita, and Steam. 1 is really good, and I don't want to talk too much more about it, because the more you can go in blind, the better, and knowing what I know, I don't want to accidentally spoil anything.
Yeah.
But Danganronpa 1, 2 thumbs up. Danganronpa 2, Killing Harmony?
I just want to say really quick, I did read a rumor that they're going to bring Triple Despair Danganronpa out for Switch.
That'd be great.
Oh, man.
It'd be great if they would just bring 1, 2, and 3, and that would... I
mean, that's what that has to be, right?
I would hope, because I would hope they wouldn't just put 3 out there and be like, I don't know, good luck. Because that would be rough, but that would be a great platform for that.
Killing Harmony is the 3rd one. I'm trying to remember what the 2nd one's title is.
Beach Time Fun. I don't remember.
It's something.
2
is my favorite.
2 is probably my least favorite, but
oh, no.
That is like if someone offers you your 3 favorite ice cream flavors, and you're like,
it's true.
You can pick 2 of these, and it's like, well, I still win out. I think 2's main problem that 1 and V3 managed to avoid is 2 doesn't really endear you to any of the characters very quickly. For me, it took a really long time to really like anybody except for Gundam Tanaka, because he's probably one of my favorite characters in the franchise overall. And I think that pays off in pretty well near the end. One of my favorite things about Danganronpa 2, and it's a very, very minor spoiler for the beginning, is when you wake up on the island at the beginning, you're not introduced to Monokuma as you would expect to be. You're met with Usagi, I think is her original name.
Yeah, it's Moon Bunny or whatever, Usagi.
Yeah.
Usagi.
She welcomes you and says, like, to get off the island, all you have to do is just make friends with everybody. You've got this little crystal, it's got 5 things in it, fill all 5 with everybody, and, like, the game smartly, when you start it up, you're like, okay, here's another killing game, like, let's get into it, someone's gonna die really quickly, and they give you enough time at the beginning to be like, wait, is this really just me gonna do? And then Monokuma shows up, and I was like, alright, okay, now we're gonna get into it. I think Danganronpa 2, in nearly every aspect, is such a huge leap over the first one. Not only voice acting, but the writing is incredible. The characters are superb. You get the first game takes place in just Hope's Peak Academy. But the second one takes place on this whole island system that you're trapped on. There are more mini games for the class trial stuff. I can't believe we even forgot to talk about the rhythm game section that comes at the end of a lot of... Your least favorite?
My least favorite, the rhythm game. I'm so bad at it. I don't understand why.
Until 3, it was not good. A lot of times I'm just hitting R1 and it's like, okay, we're just gonna blindly mash our way through this. I think that it's pretty funny because Danganronpa 1 makes a joke at its own expense, saying you can make video games even if you don't have a big budget. You can make a visual novel. It's like, all right, yeah, that's pretty good. But it very much seems like the first game was a runaway success almost immediately, pretty much everywhere it was published. And you can tell with 2, they took the same engine, but they invested so much more time on graphics and storyline and making better mysteries and
the mysteries are a lot better. Yeah. I was hoodwinked on many of them. I did not know who had done it until I think in the first game maybe I'm too good at mystery solving. Maybe I've played a lot of Phoenix Wright games, so the first one I feel like I almost got every single one of them like halfway through the investigation. Like, I got this.
Yeah, you're like, it's that dude. Come on.
It's I know who did this one, but I feel like with the second one, immediately maybe it was just the fact that the killer did a way better job of concealing the most important evidence or what have you, but it was a lot harder, and I had to suss out the information in the trial to come up with the exact answer. So there was a lot of anticipation in 2 because I would have an idea of who had done it, or I would have like a list of suspects, and that would bring anxiety into the trial that I had because I wasn't sure if it was going to be this character or this character or this character. Right. Which is amazing because they do that with I feel like the very first trial of Danganronpa 2 sets the stage for the entirety of the game. Yeah. You kind of get a feeling that like this is going to be a step up from Danganronpa 1 right away. Yeah,
I think you bring up a really good point, because I think what they were trying to do with the first one is very much, you go into the class trial, whenever you find the dead body, there's sort of an arbitrary time limit that's story-based. It's not like there's a 15-minute on the screen or anything. It's basically until Monokuma gets bored. And I feel like with 2, they finally got it right, which is you're going into a class trial sort of knowing half of the story, and then going through the class trial and knowing, like, picking up information that everybody knows, or like refuting lies and trying to figure out, like, if you sort of accuse this person and, you're pretty sure it's them, but if it's not, then you learn all this new information, and by the time you get to the end, you know for sure, even if that person hasn't admitted to it, you can build your case, you can build the comic book, and you've learned about half of the case by the end of it.
Yeah.
And the way that 2 loops in and around to the story that 1 told in pretty surprising ways was really, really great. Obviously not going to spoil it here.
No.
Although that would be pretty hard because of how meaty the second one turns out to be.
It is.
But both 1 and 2 are really incredible, and I think 2 took me probably 30 hours, so it also wasn't that crazy. 2 saw me rely on walkthroughs more heavily. The thing that 1 and 2 did that I still don't enjoy are basically being able to absorb somebody's statement and then shoot it off onto another one.
Yeah.
Every time one of those comes up, I'm sort of like, I don't know what to do here. Oh, I have to absorb. Okay, yeah, I guess those two hook up. But
it's like one of the things I always had problems with in the Phoenix Wright series was you might know how to get to. You might know the answer to what you need to get past it, but you don't know how to tell the game you know the answer.
Right.
So
You have
it's
to,
like, how do I get past this game? Tell me,
Right.
like, I know the answer, but I don't know which one of these things you want me to do to get that answer to you.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of times I'm like, I'll listen to the arguments for like 2 or 3 times. It's like I don't really know. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
it's that. Did you watch Danganronpa 3, the anime?
I only watched a little bit of it and decided I am going to make sure I finish Ultra Despair Girls, because I know that there is at least, I think there's one episode dedicated to Ultra Despair Girls.
There's about 10 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched the trailer for Ultra Despair Girls, like the 1.5-minute trailer, and that gave me enough to know what it's all about.
Yeah.
The Danganronpa 3 anime is really incredible. So the
from the little bit I saw, it's a little more intense.
It's a lot more intense, but I think so for people that haven't played the games, Danganronpa 1, 2, and then 3, the anime, sort of encompass the Hope's Peak Academy arc, as it's called. It all centers around that school in some form or fashion. Danganronpa 3, the anime, tells two stories. Sorry. One is Despair, which happens before the events of Danganronpa 1, and then Future, which happens after the events of 2. And the cool part is it's sort of answering a lot of questions on both ends. And I feel like if I talk too much about this, I'll spoil some stuff in 2, so I'm not going to. What is really great, and thank you again to Mina for explaining this to me, is basically you're going to watch the show in alternating sequential order. So you watch Future 1, then Despair 1, Future 2, Despair 2, etc., all the way through 13 episodes of both, and then you watch this episode called Hope, which clears up the first 2 games and the entirety of the anime. Sort of the whole thing gets cleaned up pretty nicely throughout the whole thing. And it's incredible. Like, I just... The only bad part about it is they didn't get the same voice actor for Monokuma in the English version.
Oh, yeah.
And the guy they have playing for Monokuma in the English one is really bad.
They didn't even try. It does not sound like an attempt was not made on
it. Is like you know, I explained to my wife, I was like, it's almost like if you were to watch a new Disney movie and like you're looking forward to a Mickey coming on screen, and he comes on and he's like, "Hey, it's me, Mickey, what's up?" And it's just like, that's not what happened. Like, did I get the wrong copy? Like, so like part of the thing about Monokuma that I really like is the same reason I like 0-3 in Virtue's Last Reward, is it's this very cheery, very high-pitched character that is talking about pretty terrible things. And Monokuma is always... Whoever, the guy who does Monokuma's voice, and I think it's a different one in V3, does such a great job at towing that line between deranged optimism and then, like, when you trap Monokuma, he's always like, like, he's begrudgingly giving up some sort of nugget of truth. And the voice actor for that does it great. And that high-pitched laugh that he's sort of famous for is great. And then, like, I can't do his laugh anymore because I've been talking for a while. Yeah, like that one. And then, like, watching the English anime, they got the majority of the voice actors back, which is great. Like, Makoto's back. Like, all the great people that you wanted to see are back, and they're giving their performances. And then Monokuma comes out, and it's genuinely like, who? And it's like, what the hell happened? He's like, it's me, Monokuma. And it's just like, no, it's not.
You know what's funny is I think that voice actor is the same as the Danganronpa anime, the first anime.
Yeah. I went to go back and watch.
They kept bad. But the problem is if you played the game, you only know the real voice actor. Higher pitch one.
And so I watched it in Japanese, which is really great. All those voices are great. And
Yeah.
the what I didn't realize until I looked it up is the woman who plays Monokuma in Japanese played Doraemon in like the old classic anime, and that's why Japanese Monokuma is so beloved, because it's very, very close to Doraemon's voice, but a little twisted and a little bit like a little bit crazed. I was like, well, that's really good.
Great.
But the anime was really, really great. It's on Crunchyroll in order in Japanese. It's on Funimation out of order and in English. Yeah. Funimation also released it on Blu-ray, and they released one arc in one box and one arc in the other box. Which,
they shouldn't have done that.
Crunchyroll
did it right.
Switch discs, which is just to be fair, you can watch the arcs in order, but like you're missing so much of what makes that so interesting, because like between the first 2 episodes, someone you meet in the future arc, the first episode, dies, and then you see the past arc through their eyes, and the very beginning is like, oh, so I guess I died in that, huh? Oh, that sort of stinks. It's like that character sort of reminiscing about the past as they're sort of dying. And there's some stuff in the future arc where it's like, we've been friends forever. Why did you betray me? It's like that episode ends. The other episode is we're going to talk about the stuff before Danganronpa 1 where they knew each other, and here's where the seeds of that sort of stuff got laid.
So it's very much flashbacks and then going back to the present, flashback, going back to the present. So and it's answering questions that are being raised in one episode, and then that will lead into the next episode. So there's like this really nice wave of back and forth that if you just watch it straight through, you're not going to get. And I feel like it's a little less satisfying to just watch one half and straight through and then watch the other half straight through. And
I feel like both of the arcs are answering different questions about different games. So it's sort of it's better you get some like bomb about what happened in Danganronpa 2, and it's like, oh, okay, well in this one I'm getting some knowledge about Danganronpa 1, so it's a little easier to chew through there. So that's the Hope's Peak Academy arc. Did you play the Danganronpa V3 demo, Mina?
I was going to play the demo, but a couple of my viewers asked that I not play the demo because they wanted to see my reaction to being introduced to the characters without having any sort of demo information. However,
you missed out.
However,
okay,
I have since then heard about what was in the demo.
Okay, so part of the reason why I like the demo is, and a lot of the introductions to the characters you can skip past because they're just sort of standing in the hallways, so you can just move past them and not talk to them. The great part about the demo is it has nothing to do with the main game at all, which is really good.
Yeah.
And the majority of it is you get introduced to the main character, Kaede, from V3 by the main characters of the first 2 games helping you out with an investigation and then handing the baton of protagonist off to Kaede and saying like, look man, this is your show now, like you got to go on the class trial and do this. Which is really great. And the victim is the guy from Danganronpa 1 that no one liked.
Hagakure.
Yeah, Hagakure. And he's Monokuma even at some point says like, oh, it was just him that died? Oh, that's fine. We don't even need to have a class trial.
Yeah, like, I think he was the least liked character in both the ratings on Japan and everywhere else. He's kind
finishing that demo, you got like 300 mono coins, a couple items, and like a skill that you take into the class trial. So it was probably about 45 minutes. If anyone hasn't played Danganronpa and you sort of want to know what it's about, that's a really good intro. It gets you through about half of a class trial, which is really good. And I am more than halfway through chapter 5 of Danganronpa 3 V3.
Man.
I am like, I'm a man on a mission to just finish this game. just so I can figure out what's going on. I think Danganronpa V3 is probably the hardest one to talk about because I was upset with Spike Chunsoft because on the PS4 version, at the end of Chapter 1, they don't let you take screenshots anymore.
Yeah.
And that really frustrated me until I remembered there's a big event that happens in Chapter 1 that sort of turns the whole game on its head.
Uh-huh.
So nearly anything I share after that would be a huge spoiler, so it's like,
yeah.
All right, fine.
I had a difficult time when I was making thumbnails for
V3.
For V3 on my
Yeah.
Let's Play. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to have to make sure that I make it ambiguous as much as possible as to what's going on. So I made a lot of my thumbnails look like cluttered messes intentionally.
Right.
And that's just because I was like, anything I post after this point is going to look like a spoiler.
Right.
So
even if you don't mean it to.
Even if I don't mean it to, yeah. And that was, I mean, the thing is because I feel like, just like Danganronpa 2, Danganronpa V3's first case really sets the tone, like, of the entire game going forward. Like, it's the one that really, it means something for the rest of the thing. And what I really like about, and we can kind of talk about this vaguely, is I feel like what they accomplished in the first case trial of Danganronpa V3 is what they were trying to accomplish in Danganronpa 1.
Yes. Yep.
But this was way more successful.
Yep.
And I think the writer himself has said that, like, you know, he's grown quite a bit with the series, and I feel like you can really see his writing being flexed here in the third game, that he's really figured out how to make a Danganronpa game at this point. And it's why I think, like, the third game will probably be, like, one of the strongest steps forward to basically... I feel like they're almost doing, like, a new... Well, I don't feel like it. I kind of can say that this feels like a brand new arc, a brand new Danganronpa universe starting.
They're referring to it as, like, the juvenile, what is it? The Ultimate Academy for Gifted Juveniles arc. Yeah. Which is not a super snappy title, but
doesn't roll off the tongue, but it's really nice because I feel like this will probably set the tone for the next games that follow after. I don't know why a lot of people thought that he wasn't going to make any more, but I didn't get that impression after playing the game.
That would be a real crime, because I think like you're saying, like the way that these cases are so twisty-turny, and the satisfying way of, like, there's such an ebb and flow to case trials. It's sort of hard to explain. I think people that played Phoenix Wright will get it a little bit, where you answer one question and then you say, okay, we figured that out, but what about this other thing? And, like, you sort of build up to it to either, like, a nonstop debate or a question where you're sitting there and you're like, yeah, like, I'm looking through all my evidence. How did they do it? And then you have that aha moment where it's like, wait, they just said something, but that's not right, because I have this evidence that does this. And, like, you sort of hit that peak again. It's like, all right, now I answered that one, so let's work our way. And just the feeling of working your way through and, like, almost like brushing the dirt off of like the truth in this case feels so good. And the complexity of each of these cases, specifically the second one, it's so crazy, where you go into a trial and you're like, I sort of have an idea of all these pieces, how they fit together, and it's like, oh no, I really didn't. I was totally wrong, and this is awesome. I think they went above and beyond, both with the engine. It's sort of hard to explain, but the way you moved around Danganronpa 1 felt good. The way that you moved around the islands in Danganronpa 2 felt real bad. The camera was agonizingly slow on the PS4. Yeah. and the way you play on 3 feels the way that I think they were trying to make those games feel. Like it controls correctly, and they fixed Hangman's Gambit, which is that anagram thing I was talking about before. That sucks way less than the 1 and 2. It's way more fun to play. They put a mini game in there where you're, instead of the like the half pipe grinding 1 and 2 that was kind of fun. They have the Psych Taxi where you're basically playing Crazy Taxi for a little bit. They have like a Minesweeper mini game. They fixed the rhythm game where instead of it being like this weird half circle with dots on it, it's like a proper rhythm game where you have symbols on the screen that you're hitting in time. It's crazy how much better of a game V3 is than 1 and 2, and they didn't really need to. Like 1 and 2 played fine, but you go through and you play 3 and you're like, oh man, those were actually kind of not great games. They were great mysteries and great stories, but the actual playing of it wasn't super great. And I think for me, except for one character in the game, I really, really like all of them. Only character I don't like is Gonta.
Poor Gonta.
Yeah, poor Gonta. I never really...
I don't think they fleshed him out very well.
Yeah, and I never hung out with him, so I never really... For anyone that's listening that maybe didn't play, he presents himself sort of like a caveman, where it's like, Gonta won't be gentleman.
So what's unfortunate is the way that they handled Gonta's character on top of that, because that isn't how he was in the Japanese version. I've heard a lot of people have that huge complaint that he wasn't supposed to be like that.
Interesting. I'll have to go see it. Once I finish it, I'll have to go see some of that stuff.
In the actual version, he was supposed to be way more proper and
dignified,
not like
almost.
Dignified almost.
Right.
And less of a less of a caveman, like you said.
Yeah.
Gonta.
It's sort of weird because he's not dumb. It's just he has this caveman speak that's just very strange. All the voice acting is exceptional, as it's always been. I'm 99% sure there's a new person for Monokuma, but that's fine because he does Monokuma. Except for a couple of lines, it's almost exactly the same. The Mono Cubs, Monokuma's 5 robot children, are all really good. In a way that I thought was going to be really annoying. And it's so good. And hands down, by far, my new favorite Danganronpa character, even beating out Gundam Tanaka, is Miyu. The ultimate inventor.
She's my least favorite.
What's that?
She's my least favorite.
I love how, because I feel like everybody in the Danganronpa games have always been pretty serious, and I like that Miyu, her character designer said that he took all of the worst, designs you could put on a single person and just mush them together to make like the least likable character.
Well,
and
the creator himself said that he wanted her to make the list of the least liked character in all of Danganronpa. Like that was his goal. Like even as her personality, he sought to make somebody that was just purely going to win the hate list. So
unlikable. And
she's actually really high on the popularity list.
Part of the reason why I love her is because she is easily one of the most foul-mouthed characters I have run into in video game history. I feel badly for you, Mina, because I know you voice a lot of the characters when they don't have speaking lines, and that has to be really tough with stuff that I can't even begin to dance around on this show.
I was so frustrated with her because, one, I was like, I'm gonna get copyright stuff hitting me left and right. I'm gonna get like YouTube's gonna just hit me all over the place for this character. So I was already not in a good mood, but I've actually known people exactly like her in my life.
Yeah, me too.
And characters who, or not characters, but people who have treated me the way she was treating Kaede.
Right.
And that sort of like that really got into my head at some point, and I just got so mad. I gave her the stupidest voice that I could come up with.
Oh,
and I was
you.
just like, it was always like, oh my god, and then, like, that was the only voice I gave her. I was even mumbling some of her lines because it was like, I don't even want to say what she's saying right now.
I don't feel safe saying this in my own home.
So yeah, I'm just gonna mumble it.
Part of the reason why I like Mia so much is because she puts up this horribly vulgar, disgusting front, and then when someone tries to put the heat on her, all of a sudden she's like, "Oh, don't be mean to me." It's sort of like
she's
just
so
like a big
quick
kitty
to
cat.
do the victim.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh god, I hate. Oh.
I loved her so much because she just talks a big game, but she's really just a big baby on the inside.
Oh, I get why people like her.
Yeah.
I hate her. There's no way I will ever, like, there were people who like fought me with this on the channel that were like, "Oh, you just don't understand her." And I'm like, "No, I understand her. I don't like her."
Yeah.
I don't like how she acts like she's like
I
all
like
that
who she
mean. and then like the second you call her out or the second she gets a taste of her own medicine, she's so quick to be like, "I'm the victim here. You need to pity me." And then as soon as you do, she flips back to acting. I was like, I can't put up with her.
The one big thing that I liked that they carried over from 2 was the class trial intermissions, because the class trials in this game are significantly longer than they were in 1 and 2.
Oh.
And it's so nice to have like a halfway point where it's like, okay, I'm gonna save, I'm gonna be done for tonight. I will take tomorrow and I'll play through like the next hour and a half or 2 hours of this trial.
So I don't think they give you an intermission in the case 6.
Oh no.
So I would say after an hour, you should like just save and be like, okay, because it is quite literally without me voice acting, because the class trials do not need any voice acting, so I'm just playing it straight. It was 3 hours.
Yeah, I believe it after 2, because 2 had a really long ending too. I mean, it's hard because it almost sounds like we're complaining, but that's a real positive, because these games end so strongly that it's sort of like, oh no, 3 more hours, awesome. You know, that's a good thing.
It's basically the tying the ribbon at the end, so you really need to. It's going to be long because it's going to answer all your questions that you've had throughout the series, and it definitely needed to go that long. But I would say you definitely have to like stop and save.
Yeah, I have to pace myself. Yeah, so definitely I'll be finished with it before the next episode of this. And
so you said you were in Case 5's trial?
No, just like about halfway through. So like it's like I was talking about before, where you have that anticipation where it's like, I know I'm going to stumble, I'm going to turn a corner and there's going to be a dead body and it's going to play that sound effect to that, like, wah, wah, wah. Which is great because that shows up a lot in the anime as well. Like a couple times when you find a dead body, it plays that same sound effect. But yeah, I'm excited. I stopped it there specifically because I didn't want to like stumble upon the body and get into the investigation mode and then have to like not finish. So
I tend to do it the same way, where I'm like, okay, I need to play until this point and then stop, because I want to do the investigation all in one go.
Yep.
And then move on to doing the trial all in one go.
Yeah.
And then
that's 3 how main phases.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, if you haven't figured out by now, like me playing 3 games and a demo and watching entire 26 episode anime in the last 2 months, I really enjoy this, and I think if you're still listening at this point and you like visual novels, or I think for me, Danganronpa 1 has entered it's now 3 games I can recommend as starting visual novels. One is 999, one is Steins Gate, if you can deal with a lot of anime, and then one is Danganronpa. I think for me, you want to play some like true visual novels, because Phoenix Wright is sort of a little bit further into the puzzle end of the spectrum. I think those are the 3 to start with, and each one of those has a pretty good series to back it up, except for Chaos Child, because I did not enjoy that game at all. But I'm enjoying Danganronpa a lot, and I'm still mad that I have not played these before. but I'm almost caught up, and I'll be ready for Danganronpa 4 in like 5 years probably. But that's all I played this month. So let's take a break.
Yay! You still had to put up with all of that Danganronpa.
It's man.
If it comes out on Switch.
Sometimes, like, I have a bad enough time listening to people I'm interested in. Like, my brain just fades in and out. Like, when you asked me that question, I thought, oh, thank God, I am listening right now.
Well, I made sure to include, like, what I was bringing up, because I was like, he might have zoned out, because I was going deep into, like, some Danganronpa stuff. And
yeah. Well, and for anyone watching, we're sort of all across a bunch of time zones, so it's 5:30 for me, but it's getting later for the two of you, so...
Let me, I think my wife's about to leave. Let me go see if I can catch her real quick. I'll be back.
So
I'm really glad that
no one should think that I'm offended that Musum like checked out a little bit. Yeah, it's after lunch. You have a little bit of food coma going on.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you decided to try out Danganronpa, because as a visual novel goes, it's like you said in my top 3 of like. Yep. If you play these 3 and you still come to me and say I hate visual novels, I'll be like, you do hate visual novels.
Yeah, they're not for you.
They're not for you if these didn't do it for you.
Yeah, I think for me it was sort of a perfect storm of Danganronpa 1 and 2 Reload going on sale on PS4 for like $20, which is an incredible value.
Great price.
And having those digitally so I could like play Destiny 2 or whatever else at the same time. And then Danganronpa V3, like, I was finishing 2, I was, like, in the back little bit of 2, and I got an Amazon gift card that would have covered Danganronpa V3, and it's like, alright, come on in. And I got the Day 1 edition on PS4, which came with, like, an art book and a soundtrack CD, which I haven't looked at because spoilers, so...
Yeah,
Boy, the soundtrack in V3 as well, like... They made some banging Danganronpa tunes. Like, oh, here's Monokuma's track, but except it has a sick bass line now. It's like, yeah, dude.
I always love that they made sure to include what song is playing in the corner. Because of course you're going to want to look that up when you're done.
I thought I'd get sick of that, because it has like a little equalizer, and it has, you know, the track listing, like you were saying, but I always look and it's like that exploring the Hope's Peak Academy song from the very first one.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's my jam.
With the horn. I don't know how to describe it. I love that.
Oh no, this is the same guy for that voice acts Monokuma in the third one as the first two. Oh.
I did notice that. Oh, I can't talk about that. Never mind. There is a lot of the voice actors from V3, I can tell that they were the same voice actors from 2 and 1. So they brought a lot of them back. For example, Gundam Tanaka, 100% Ryuji.
Yes.
Yep. 100% Ryoma.
Brian Beacock, who does the voice, was born in 1966, so... Monokuma is probably starting to be a very hard voice to do for a guy.
Probably, yeah.
Because it sounds like on some lines, especially like you get that same line, like, you know, you have to figure out who done it at the beginning of every class trial. Sounds like that. Some of those lines are getting a little bit hard to do, which, I mean, of course it is, because it's a very high-pitched voice. I originally thought it was... the voice actor for Teddy from Persona 4 until about halfway through the first game.
Oh, yeah.
Because it sounds so similar.
I can see why. There is a character who I had thought had been replaced, and someone in the comment section told me, nope, that person is the same voice actor. And I was dumbfounded, because I was like, that character sounds completely off to me.
Oh, really?
And I was a little.
Is it a spoiler character?
No, well, see, it's not really, because I'm pretty sure you probably heard the voice in the demo. It's not even going to be a spoiler, really, but it's just like I had heard it later on.
One person voices 2 characters that were interacting with each other.
Yes,
and it was sort of like, that's not that dude's voice, and it's like, oh, it is, but they
made him change it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what they did with same voice actor,
Yep.
Persona 4.
Yes.
Um,
Or it's
so
sort of
I-
like, that's the same guy, but Johnny
What'd you
Young
do to his
Bosch
voice?
doesn't sound like him.
JYB, why can't you do your... yeah, so
Yeah.
I guess that's what had happened. But it was a little bizarre hearing the character's voice
I'm
done.
glad they got him for the anime too, for the English
Oh,
dub.
yeah,
'Cause,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Makoto's voice is so iconic at this point.
Yeah.
And that was the reason why I was sort of upset that they didn't get the guy for Monokuma, which he probably like can't show up in anime or something. You know, there's something
must
that
be
prevents
preventing
it.
him.
Because like so many of the other characters, and I don't want to spoil who survives from 1, but like so many of the other survivors from 1 have their original voice as actors. It's like, I love all these people, like this is great. And then he comes in at the end of that first episode and it's like, what happened? What did you do?
What have you done?
And it's
to my
not even like,
Monokuma?
for people that are listening, like it's not even like Chie between Persona 4 and Persona 4 Golden. Like, those both are really good voices. They're just different. You know, like Teddy from the 2 Personas. Like, they're the same voice. It's just a little bit different. There's a good YouTube video comparing Monokuma's voice against from the 4 different voice actors he's had. There's 2 in Japan and 2 in English. I would really recommend someone watch it because, like, they end up with that anime one. It's just like, what
Bizarre
happened? And it's not even close. And I feel badly because, like, that dude is a celebrated anime voice actor. It's not even close.
I feel like that's a problem on the voice director though at that point, because they should know better. I mean, if you listen, Teddy and Kanji both got replaced, as well as Chie in
That's right, Kanji
in
did
Persona
too.
4.
Yeah.
But they really worked at trying to make the voice sound right. And and I remember playing through 4 Golden, because 4 Golden was Teddy got replaced. I remember playing 4 Golden, and they reworked every single one of Teddy's lines. So it wasn't... I didn't have any qualms with any of Teddy's lines, except for there was one spot where I was like it was spoken really weird, and I was like, man, that does not sound...
I needed another take.
Give me like a couple more takes and then attempts on that line right there, and you'd sound way better at it, because that sounded a little phoned in there.
Yeah.
Because Teddy has a very specific, higher pitch sound that I wanted out of him, and that one did not come out. And I remembered that scene so clearly because it was like one of my favorite Teddy moments, and he didn't do it at all near as what I wanted it. But I mean, it's whatever. You could tell that he tried throughout the entire thing. The Monokuma from the anime is so...
It's just so different.
He doesn't do the oop, boop, 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 boop.
Yeah, like that to me is just like...
What is the... Oh, wait, he does the nyuk, nyuk, nyuk.
He does.
That's what he does.
That's the sound.
He does the nyuk,
but it's like
nyuk.
really deep pitch. It's like nyuk, nyuk, nyuk. It's just like, what the hell?
Because you're so used to the...
Well, it's weird because like the Japanese Monokuma does that same like ooh poo 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 sort of high pitched laugh. So it's like you're not even... The one thing I did forget to mention in the episode before we go to the second segment is like, I think the translation job they did is outstanding on all 3 of them, and I think it speaks volumes seeing these translation jobs after Atlas did a not great job on Persona 5. I think it shows, like, if you have less people on your translation team, you come out with a much better product. Because that was Persona 5's problem. Morgana is uneven because there were too many cooks in the kitchen.
Oh.
It's like if you watch Morgana through the game, and I didn't notice it until someone pointed it out and I played through the second time, Morgana has like 3 or 4 different personalities that are all pretty different.
I just thought he was like had 3 wild personalities.
Yeah.
I didn't connect that. I mean,
reading some of the stuff from the original, like from the Japanese, there's a consistent character that's played the same throughout the whole game. It was like a steadfast sort of rock, not super serious, not super playful, but sort of, you know, definitely not Teddy, but you know, who can be. All right, you guys ready to wrap this thing up?
Yeah.
Since it's starting to get pretty late. Okay. Oh, sorry, I didn't ask Musim either. But I think you might be muted.
What?
Hi.
Oh, there we go. Hey.
No, I'm.
Oh, are you
You guys
ready?
have been pretty intensely.
Okay, sorry.
Going on Danganronpa.
Let's talk about voice acting over here.
Like what I got from it was, okay, the character with the voice actor pretty much is the Igor situation. So.
Yes.
Oh man.
I forgot
Oh
about
man.
Igor.
The entire time I've played Persona 5, I've been like trying to give that new Igor a chance because I'm like,
Have you finished Persona 5?
I'm in the final dungeon.
Okay.
Definitely in the final dungeon. I must be like, I think someone said I'm like halfway to the.
I want to spoil something so badly
thing.
for you, and I can't. After all this time, I can't.
Oh man.
I don't want
You
to
need
talk
to
to
finish
Igor.
it out.
Minute 1 of Persona 5, that Igor voice, I've been trying to give it a chance because it sounds like it's so. It
Bite
sounds
my
like it's
tongue
been
so hard
through
it
the
bleeds.
meat grinder. Like,
I just want
You need to finish
Persona
Persona 5. Man. You just make that a priority in your
Yeah.
life.
like that sound is so terrible. His voice sounds so bad. It sounds like it's being compressed and like just fix it.
I can't say anything. It's killing me.
But I also
it's
know that
really hard.
I know that the Japanese voice actor died. I know that happened, like the original one.
He did, yes.
Yeah.
So I know that had happened. So I'm like, oh, he probably changed it so that way.
It's hurting an organ inside of me.
We really need to change subjects.
I
Mina.
really
It
do.
just don't
Are you
need
guys
to
ready to finish off this episode?
Let's finish it.
Yeah.
This isn't a disagreement or anything. This
So-
is
No,
just,
it's just
you have to finish the game.
the world's biggest spoiler for Persona 5.
You agree with me though that it sounds like it's being compressed
Yes.
and like
It
thrown
is-
through a meat grinder.
It is immediately different. We're like, hey, Igor, what? Yeah.
Like you should sound like a gentleman.
He
Whatever.
should. Igor's always a gentleman.
It
All
sounds
right.
like that scene, like in Labyrinth, they have that wall that talks. They go, "Soon it'll be too late."
Yeah. Maybe it's the same guy. Who knows? All right, let's start in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk RPG releases for February 2018. Dragon Quest Builders comes out on the Switch on the 9th. That's a pretty great platform for that, actually.
It's perfect.
Yeah. Good job, Square Enix. 2 thumbs up. Radiant Historia Perfect Chronology comes out on the 3DS on the 13th. I really liked the original game. And it was sadly overlooked because it sort of came out at the wrong time. I hope a lot of people give this one a shot. It's weird and it's a cool time travel story, but it's...
Is this a sequel or is this a remake
It's a
or what is
remake.
this?
It's basically, hey, we brought it on the 3DS and we added like a new dungeon or something.
Okay.
It seems a lot like what they're doing with SMT Strange Journey Redux, where it's like it's largely the same thing. We're just sort of now you guys can play it because it's a better time. So, The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 2 comes out on the PC on the 14th. I thought this was already out, but I sort of get all the Legend of Heroes games all shuffled up, so... Or maybe it's 3. I don't really know.
Seems like they release 2 or 3 of them a year at this point.
Yeah, they're really rushing to put these out. They're finally catching up, which is good.
Yep.
So we're in less spoiler territory. And last but certainly not least, Secret of Mana comes out on PC, PS4, and the Vita on the 15th.
Whoa.
Which is way earlier than I thought this thing was coming out, but maybe I'll play Secret of Mana this time.
Every time I think of buying that, then I remember that they want like $40 or $50 or something
I
for
think it's
it.
40 because it has a
And
new
it's-
art style.
Yeah, and I know everyone's kind of down on the art style, but to me, that art style is kind of similar to the original in a way. But
I dig it. It looks like the original concept art. Like people
Yeah.
are like, this doesn't look like Secret of Mana. It's like Like it really does.
Yeah.
I'm
I thought
confused.
it looked nice, but
Yeah.
I don't have money right now.
Yeah, I don't
So-
have $40 to blow on a downloadable Secret of Mana.
I
Yeah.
really wanted it to be 20. Like,
Yeah, I feel like that's one of those titles that'll be on deep discount in a couple of months.
I can wait for a Steam sale.
Yeah.
well, I got a like SNES Classic that I barely touched.
There you
I
go.
really should probably just play it on that.
Yeah. You see, you already own it. It's in your home.
It's probably not the only copy of it. In my home.
Probably not. All right, let's move on to news stories. Speaking of Nintendo, they had a Nintendo Direct Mini basically as soon as we recorded the episode last month. I don't think we talked about this last month. Did we, Musum?
Did we even talk about news last month? I feel like there
I don't think
wasn't
we had
anything.
a lot of them. I can pull up last month's news stories here and see. We had... Nope. Atlas announced a Catherine remake. That was last month's news story. So, Nintendo had... I think it was literally the night of the episode we were recording. Nintendo came out with a Nintendo Direct Mini. Basically, they announced 3 RPGs along with a whole bunch of other DLC and games. The stuff we really care about... Ys 8 is coming out on the Switch in summer. Probably still, even with the whole translation hullabaloo. It seems like it might still be on track. I'm not entirely sure. A HD upgrade of the original Dark Souls is going to come to Switch. Not
nice.
a remake. It's a remaster. Namco Bandai have been very clear to say, like, no new assets, nothing crazy, just put it on Switch, which is fine. Dark Souls is great. And last but certainly not least, one of the best DS games and one of the best RPGs of all time, The World Ends With You, is coming to Switch.
I know a lot of people will be really excited to get their hands on that.
This is such a cool, stylish, different, weird, incredible game that so many people missed, and I really, really hope that people give it a shot on the Switch. And I hope they port it correctly, so it's sort of... As the thing about the game on DS was you were playing both screens at the same time.
Yeah, I was about to say, how are they planning on doing that element?
I don't know. They changed it a little bit when they put it on iOS.
Oh, did they?
And hold on, just time out somebody on Twitch chat here because they did a fake donation message. But I don't know how they did that, so I'm not entirely sure how that's going to work, but curious. Because if they can handle it pretty well, then that's a game that people should really try.
I'm kind of currently playing to get all 3 games, because while I own 2 copies of Dark Souls, I've never beaten it.
Yeah.
I own 2 copies of The World Ends With You.
Oh my gosh.
And I've never... Like, Susie, my wife, got way farther in that game than I did.
Yeah.
I think I bought the 2nd copy so we could trade buttons or something like that. And
Yeah, oh, that's right. You could trade buttons. Yeah.
You could? I
That's
don't
right.
even remember that.
Yeah.
I
I
didn't
forgot
have
about the
anybody
whole
to play
button
with.
system. Man, that game is good.
Yeah, and Ys 8 has sounded, aside from the translation, has sounded like a really good game. So,
Yeah.
with, like, Switch is my primary console right now, so I am down. I am
so
in.
good.
Yeah. More RPGs, please. Like Project Octopath Traveler, which is just a title I like saying. Really.
I downloaded that demo, and I guess I probably need to actually play it. I've
Yeah,
been so
it's
down
supposed
on
to be good.
Square like RPG
Yeah.
was over the years, which is stupid because they've actually done pretty good lately. So,
Yeah. Next news story is a rumor. Rumors that there's a new Fable game in the works, potentially being developed by Playground Games, who's been the developer of the first 3 Forza Horizon games. I sort of infamously don't have a fondness for the Fable series at all. Do either of you enjoy the Fable series?
Which one's the one where your brother is a tyrant? Is that
3?
the third one? Is that the third one?
I think so. The second one was one with a dog, right?
Well, I thought the third one had a dog too. Did
Oh,
it?
maybe. I don't know. I didn't play through that much. So
I was
didn't like
always kind of incredulous at like Fable's claims with you do this as a kid and then this happens when you grow up, and it's like
Molyneux
look,
effect.
we've been playing RPGs all my life.
Yeah, never
like,
happened.
It's cool when they do that. This stuff has happened before, and never to the extent that you say it's going to.
Don't tell me you're Chrono Trigger, because I know you're not.
Yeah.
I'm not turning a desert into a forest.
Seriously.
I don't remember it like being a very like outstanding game. I found it pretty average. I didn't find anything about it that was like, wow, this game is really good at, you know, it didn't really grab me, I guess is the problem.
Right.
It was very
It's no Dragon Age Origins.
It wasn't Dragon Age Origins. That's for sure.
I've summoned
but I remember,
it to be installed on someone else's Steam library now.
I mean what it was trying to accomplish felt like it was trying to make you have like serious like choices of doing this or doing that, and that will have
Good
repercussions.
versus evil.
Yeah, but what it all boiled down to, really, that I understood was grind a lot and get a lot of money, and then you just pick the good option and feel better about the whole thing, and you don't have to make any hard choices.
I'd like to see a developer take the Fable framework and like really lean into that running a city, like property management money sort of stuff. And like I think that 3 was trying to do, where it's, you know, I think it was 3 at the halfway point, it's like, hey, now you're king, what are you gonna do? And it's like, wait, what? You know, I'd like to see them lean more into that stuff and have the RPG and the combat that the series was never that great at.
The combat wasn't great, you're right.
Almost like Racketeer. You know, that
I feel like I'm trying to remember like what was something I was enjoying about the game, and I don't remember anything specific that I enjoyed, and that's probably why I didn't finish it.
Yeah, it was all just fine. Like everything
was okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what if this new one is just you riding a horse to different festivals and
doing
unlocking
3-star
new bards?
You almost got me, Musim.
Sorry.
But yes, I would play the hell out of that.
I mean, I think
just Forza Horizon within medieval times.
Yeah, Forza Horizon.
I think what they just need to seek out is to find something to really ground that game as like something really good about the game, instead of spreading out and doing a lot of things just okay and not really wowing me anywhere along the way.
You need your nemesis system from the Mordor games. Like, you know, it's a thing where it's like, the rest of the game is fine, but this thing is super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great if you want to make a game that's really good at everything, but at the very least, you need to have like the one real hook. Like Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Okay, I was pretty bleh about a lot of that game until I got a boat, and I was like, I love this
game of the year.
This is amazing. I love this boat, and like that carried me through so much of that game, because I was just like, I just want to be on a boat, and I want to land on little islands, and I want to I want to have boat battles. I want more boat.
Put Fable on the sea. I'll play that.
Yeah,
I'll play that too.
You just go to your port and then select which boat you want, and as you get more money, just Forza Horizon with
Boats of Horizon 3.
Yeah.
I
really like the Forza Horizon game, so I hope they do a good job. I just like, for me, I feel like they would have to completely reinvent what that franchise is for me to want to play it.
And part of the rumor that came along with it was they would sort of have to, because it sounds like there's a bit of a licensing spat between Lionhead and Microsoft, who seem to own about half each. And I think it was, I don't remember if it was Lionhead or if it was someone else that was making that actually really cool 4 versus 1 Fable game that was almost like a tabletop D&D thing that they're making that went in like open beta and then got canceled.
Oh man.
That seemed pretty cool, but that might
that
sort
almost
of muddy
seems
the
cool.
waters. Yeah. Fable's crazy. But I mean, I like Playground Games. They made 3 really great racing games, so I'm curious to see them take a crack at another genre and see, you know, with a fresh pair of eyes, what can someone make?
Yeah.
I mean, hey, look at Guerrilla and Horizon Zero Dawn from
That's a
freaking
perfect example. Yeah, turn them loose on something brand new and come out with
new and
something really
completely different.
good. Speaking of something not completely different at all, the original Disgaea is getting an HD remake. Disgaea 5 found its way to PS4 and Switch, so I think those are probably safe platforms to assume. Part of the reason why I want to bring this up is because I feel like every Disgaea after the first one has had maybe too much stuff in it. It's maybe sort of 10 pounds of poop in a 5-pound bag. But the first one, I feel like had just enough stuff in it. And I hope they port this and then don't mess with it. Just leave it alone. Let it be Disgaea, dude.
What are the chances of that? Like,
yeah, I don't. Also, like, the term HD remake for a PS2 isometric sprite-based SRPG is sort of funny.
I didn't want to say it, but I was gonna be like, it's a funny way to put it. Yeah. It's just gonna be the same
muddy sprites blown up to 1080p.
I'm sure they'll clean up the sprites, but it's just it's like the idea of it being an HD remake is not it's laughable to me unless they're actually doing like actual 3D character modeling, which I do not expect. No. I'm expecting
same old. Same thing NIS has been making for the last decade. Which is fine. They're all really good games.
I mean, people love them. Yeah. And I love the second one. The second one has a special place in my heart. And really good. It's my personal favorite. I actually own all of them before anybody calls me out on it. I own them all.
You've put in the money.
I put in the money so I can laugh about it.
Yeah. I've always been afraid of that series because I like.
You should be.
What's the max level? Like 999,000 or something like
per
that?
character,
Well, you can rebirth them, so technically there is an unlimited number of levels. What's crazy is if you take a max level character and you rebirth them to level 1, have that level 1 character walk up to something, punch it in the face, and just explode them because that character has like retained.
Yeah, it's like impossibly strong.
It's crazy. I made this. I made this level 1 cat girl that I rebirthed and rebirthed and rebirthed. She was on like her 3rd or 4th rebirth, but she has an automatic counter thing or whatever. And typically units aren't gonna like have a high chance at countering. I walked her up to like the strongest enemy in the game at the time, and I just level 1 walked her up there, just sat her right in front of the enemy. The enemy poked her. She did counter. He countered her. Counter. She killed them at the end of the entire counter list.
Jeez.
It was like counter times whatever.
That's cool.
So
this guy is so crazy.
Is Disgaea the NIS series where the weapons are dungeons too?
Yes. Yeah. And eventually all items are dungeons.
All things dungeons.
And for a lot of them, it's not super. Like, weapons get pretty significantly buffed when you go through, but it's like, you're just going to take like a healing herb and go through and turn it into like healing herb 1, like +1, it's not going to get you anything.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Last but not least, BioWare's Anthem has been quote-unquote delayed to 2019. Basically, an insider in the studio was like, hey man, it's coming out in 2019. EA put 2018 on our trailer at E3 last year, and that wasn't going to happen. So, this is more accurate. It also seems like EA, they're being pretty tight-lipped about their expectations about this, but Jason Schreier, Kotaku, talked to some insiders with the typical standard, excellent journalism that he does, and they said like, hey, it's boy, this is certainly our make or break game. Like, if we sort of had a miss with Andromeda, and boy, if we don't hit on this one, then that's probably the end of BioWare. So,
man, that sucks.
Yeah, they also said that they recently rebooted the next Dragon Age game, which got a lot of people to roll their eyes and be like, "Oh, of course they did." And it's like, well, I mean, it wasn't. They didn't even announced it yet. Like, they're just it's the same thing Blizzard does, where it's like, I don't like it, just throw it out, we'll start back over.
Yeah, I'm just worried about them calling it a live game.
Well, Have you seen what EA has patented?
Yeah, a lot of shady stuff.
That's not boding too well. I don't have any high hopes for it, which is really depressing because I really liked BioWare over what they had done in the past, at least. So I'm really scared that this is going to be the end.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they do have that 1 in a million chance that the rumors that we all know is BS of Microsoft buying EA.
Yeah, that'd be cool though.
Oh.
Like, as much as I don't want BioWare games to be exclusive to the Xbox, at the same time, I'm fairly certain Microsoft would treat them much better.
Yeah.
Than EA would. And unfortunately, I mean, that sucks because if Anthem fails and they really do get, I mean, EA's just not going to sell them. I mean, they're going to shut them down and disintegrate them.
Yeah,
shut
send
them down.
people home.
I mean, it's very, like, all you have to do is look at what EA has done to other companies. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Throughout the last 20 years. Well, and it's so hard too when you look at EA. They have seen the power of games as a service games, which is really a term that I'm not crazy about. But you look at a bunch of loot boxes, and they have been controversial, but monetarily very successful. And you look at a lot of games that are, like Destiny or The Division, that seem to be in the realm of Anthem, and you can see them having a pretty long tail on them. But it's hard to understand. It's hard to see immediately from the outside. You see something like a Dragon Age game and have BioWare say, like, we want some sort of live online component. It's like, that's real, like, of anything. That's really, really not what these games are. Like, these are true, genuine, single-player, offline RPGs.
Exactly.
In every fashion. And
I don't want to play with other people when I'm playing my Dragon Age game. I enjoy that my character is the main character and the hero of whatever story I am embarking upon, and I'm going to recruit these characters that are going to be my partner, and I don't want to play with other people when I'm playing these games because I don't want someone else to be the hero. This is my hero story.
Yeah.
And I mean, nothing breaks immersion like other players.
Like
other players' gamer tags showing up in your keep.
Suddenly a bunch of other players, other heroes, and in a seemingly story that's like, you're the hero, but there's everybody around me is the same.
Also, so is Fart Sniffer 75 standing next to you.
Right. And I don't need that. I don't need that.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed. I feel like BioWare has taken quite a few licks ever since Mass Effect 3, and I sincerely hope that Anthem is a hit just to see them sort of get a hit and come back to their former glory, but I can understand EA's position saying, like, this is a real make or break thing. So
yeah, but I mean, BioWare's been around since what, like early 2000s?
30 years?
Yeah,
no, I think it's even before that.
Were they? Like, I feel like that name is so iconic. I know it's entirely
February 1995, 23 years.
Wow.
So Shattered Steel and Baldur's Gate. Those were some of their first games. Like, there's.
I always forget they worked on Baldur's Gate because that was released with Interscope. No, that's a record company.
Black Isle, Interplay.
Interplay. That's what I was trying to think of.
Yep. Yeah. Crazy stuff. So, fingers crossed. And I mean, either way, we'll talk about Anthem on the show because it'll probably be a pretty big release. So, but that's next year.
I do kind of like mech suits.
Yeah, I dig all that stuff. All right, well, that's the end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at pickingupthepixels.com. All the links to all the places you can contact us, hang out with us, especially the Discord server on the right-hand side of the page. Musum, where can we find you?
You can listen to my other podcast, thecarouselpodcast.com, and you can buy my music at musum.bandcamp.com, also on Spotify and iTunes.
And Mina, where can we find you?
You can find me on both Twitch and YouTube at Minako Rocket, Minako Rocket.
And you can find this show and all the other E1M1 shows at the newly relaunched E1M1.com. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much, Musum and Mina, for joining me yet again.
Pleasure as always.
Thanks for having me.
And our adventure continues next month.
With the power of friendship.
Yes. All right, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us live. We always appreciate it. There was a ton of people in here this time. And we hope to see you next month or tomorrow for TVGP. Same place. Bye.
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 I gotta find the right button. There